Hey, schmack 'em a gob, everybody. It's the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. I don't think I'm going to be pointing at the right direction, so I'm not going to point here. And I am Dr. Fuck, and with me, my coattail rider.
Oh yeah, that's right, boss. I be good co-host. How
You,
you doing, Ralph?
you are a very good co-host. Show, prove to me what a good co-host you are by introducing our guest.
Oh my God, this is a first. This is our first lady here on the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast, and quite the lady she is, the
Ian,
one and only.
Ian, you
Yes,
say your name. Let me just say this is also a historic episode. This is the first rock and metal combat podcast that is not a sausage party.
yes, yeah. And unless there's some crazy reveal at the end of this,
I
no.
What's her name, Ian?
The amazing Heather Drain is with us. We are very honored to have you here. Writer, commentator, podcaster. I mean, you are just, uh, you're like a Swiss Army knife of awesomeness,
oh
you
my
know?
God. Okay. I'm gonna have that put on my resume. Also, this
Yeah.
is this is so huge for me. I love you guys. I remember back in the day I left an iTunes review that I said gird your loins and you guys gave it a shout out on an episode. And I totally fangirled. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. But that's like I was like a Kiss fan hearing bootlegs of Crazy Nights. I was so happy. But also that Crazy Nights single cover. I'm trying to remember, Ralph, I'm trying to remember which video you had recently where you always do those great slideshows. And there was one where it's like giant women feet and like tiny little kids. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like streetwalker feet and like and I just kept thinking, I'm like, God, they could prevent so much. They could prevent like Cadillac Dreams. You could do it right now, ladies. Do it. But now this is a huge honor. Thank you guys. I can't believe I get to be the first lady, and as a representative of the lady guild, I would like to say I think we should find a new name to insult Van Hagar. Cause vangina, like vaginas are awesome. Like vaginas are like I don't think there's need to disparage vaginas here. Like
There's nothing wrong with a vagina. What's wrong
Yeah.
with a van in a vagina?
ah,
Yeah. Like
okay.
a vagina is totally awesome. A vangina is whatever the fuck Bruce Jenner has going on,
Oh boy.
in my mind. That's the shit I think about when I'm home alone and the power goes out.
That
That's whatever Bruce Jenner has is a vangina.
well, I do
By,
keep the
by the way, Heather is the first lady that's ever been on our podcast, but we've had past guests that may become a lady later because they like shit like Prince and The Cure. So
Hey, that's me.
they might
I like Prince of the Cure too, but it's not because I'm a woman. It's because I am multifaceted. I don't like Bon Jovi. Does that help? I don't know.
See, we're the same. I feel you,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
nobody likes Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's so rich. He pays millions of people to pretend they like him. Mark Alvin Taylor, he'll tell you. Bon Jovi sends him a check every month. Go ahead, say what.
I think that's a true testament to the integrity that I have and that you guys have is we refuse to take that money.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Well, that is fair. I do think fans should stay out of vaginas. It is an orifice, not a parking lot. But
And by the way, a slight commercial. Get the anniversary of Slippery When Wet on vinyl
oh,
because because Bon Jovi's good.
oh my God. I know. For years I've always been trying to spread the word that there are plenty of ladies that love truly, truly great hard rock and metal. And that's why I listen to this show. Like, I don't want to hear you guys talk about Tough or Pretty Boy Floyd or I do like it when Ralph talks about Poison though, because those are some of your best suck versus sucks. Like anytime they start doing the harmonica and Brett's making those weird like aye noises.
Take it outside.
So I threw in actually in the video. I was like, listen to this shit. Fucking, you know, listen. I just you talking about Poison suck versus suck. Right in my mind. I don't know the name of the song. I don't even remember what album it was on. But there was a song where Brett Michaels, the beginning of the song is trying to get all bluesy, and he's playing harmonica, and then he's got. And Poison's really big by now. And I'm like, there's nobody in the studio that can say, yo, man, come on. You're not going to put that on the album, are you?
I know, he makes Blind Lemon Chitlin sound like Robert Johnson. It is not. That was such a terrible trend, all of these guys. See, we're legitimate. We're still legitimate, relevant. We do the blues now. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, all those bands started one way, more hard rocking or different one. Then they were like, hey, look, let's play the blues so we can get credentials because nobody's going to give us props in the future with fucking Cry Tough.
That's kind of fucked up, though. You know, the man's diabetic. He could have had low blood sugar that day, you know? He just needs some insulin, you know?
That's what those noises. When we think he's scatting, he's actually like trying to get somebody to get him like an Ensure bar or something to get the
You know what?
insulin
The
spike.
fucked up thing, we're all getting so old, like pretty soon he's going to be the new Wilford Brimley, you know? Brett Michaels is going to come out and be like, you check your blood sugar and you check it often. There's no reason not to.
Oh my God. Do you think he'll like when he'll be at the opening of a strip club and he'll have like a little booth with like free samples of like, you know, of like Atkins bars and shades and shit like that. No carbs. Like it's safe. What a bleak future.
Remember when Brett Michaels was in the hospital because of some brain surgery shit and they took a picture like on the bed like asleep but he had a bandana on? In his head, you know, and he's wearing
Brett Michaels and brain surgery, you know, like, you can't polish a turd, you know. Wouldn't that be great though if they did something? He comes out, he writes shit like Bob Dylan, you know, just totally changes. He's got good lyrics.
That's how you know something has happened. And what would have been worse if he had instead of the bandana? Do you guys remember that? I don't know if either one of you watched Rock of Love.
Oh, of course.
Right. But you remember the episode where he showed up with full wig, no bandana, and it made Gene Simmons wigs in the circa 80s look almost good. Like it was terrible. And like it lives in my dreams. He had weird bangs.
Oh, dude, he came out looking like fucking Cher. I thought he was gonna start singing Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
He said, "Do you believe?"
Hey, Brett pays me too. Poison's awesome.
Well, they could be awesomely funny. That's for sure. Also, their video for what is it? Fallen Angel has a really good actor. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie Burnt Offerings from 1976. This really cool like horror movie. Yeah. The actor that plays the creepy limo driver, Anthony James, who's also in like In the Heat of the Night and God, so many things. Naked Gun. He plays the sleazy agent in that movie. Yep. Yeah. And he's amazing in that video. Like he is full on greasy. He's a guy that
looks like he's got acne and everything, right?
He is he is so beautiful. And it's like, but what the world was just believe this girl's better off run away from home to join Poison on the road than to be with Anthony James. Like, come on. But
you gotta give it to Brett Michaels, you know, he got discovered. He was on the farm team for the Special Olympics. You know, and then they brought him up to the majors, you know. Hey.
Fuck.
But he's so pretty. He's so goddamn pretty. You know, you just let him go.
Why are we talking about poison? I'm sorry. I've led you guys astray. This is my fault.
This is what we do. This
I'll
is
be
why
the
our episodes are 5 hours long.
I'll be the last woman that's ever on the show.
We don't talk this long about Bret Michaels, not even when we review a poison.
That is
The funny thing is, Bret Michaels will share this episode just to get somebody, hey, they talk about me.
Oh my God. Well, he's got to promote this mean. That's not to be really mean.
Yeah.
I was going to say he's got to promote that crawfish boil appearance, which I think has actually happened. I don't think I'm exaggerating. That's amazing.
He's trying to fund a new direct-to-video sequel to that direct-to-video movie he made with Charlie Sheen. Was that Letters from Death Row?
Oh God.
Remember that shit?
I was about to bring that up. I remember seeing it. And I hardly remember, but I was like, wow, Bret Michaels, I can't believe you act worse than you use it.
Oh my God.
I was like, that is a talented guy when it comes to suck. Sammy Hagar level suck.
Oh my God. What is that? Isn't he playing like a guy that's on is he playing a killer? I've never seen the movie.
Oh God, I've just seen clips, but he's like a Southern guy and he's got a draw, and he's on death row, but he's still got a bandana in the prison cell.
No, but I was his head in the movie. I remember he was bald in the movie.
But
that wasn't no skull cap. That was. What I'm talking about, Bret Michaels.
But I mean, come on, movies, music, TV. Is there anything the guy can do?
He can't foul up and get mysteriously aroused by. Yeah. Does he play the harmonica in the movie? That would.
Does he play the harmonica?
Oh my God.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of Jesus.
Yes.
Oh my God. I have to go to the bathroom. When I come back, we're gonna wrap up this Bret Michaels shit though. We gotta move on.
We're done with Bret Michaels.
That is the yes.
I'm gonna ask you. We talked about it earlier. I bought the Blu-ray of Over the Edge, and on the extras there was a podcast, and the podcast featured you. And I was like, I know her. That's Heather Drain. She's a fan of the podcast, And that was so cool. How the hell did you get on that Blu-ray?
Well, the podcast that I was on for that was the Projection Booth, which is hosted by Mike White, who is amazing, and I've been lucky. Mike has had me off and on, kind of on the show, for like years now. I think for like 12 or 13 years. And there are some, I think. I'm trying to remember which company released that, but they reached out to him and they asked him like, hey, could we use this episode as a supplement? And he was like, sure, but let me clear it with the co-host. And so he reached out to me and the other host. And of course I was like, yes, fuck yes. And that was kind of all she wrote. Like, that was such a cool episode to be on because I love that movie. And I think more people should talk about it. That's one where I'm surprised. Like, I mean, it's a cult film, but I feel like it should be like an even bigger cult film than it is, especially with the soundtrack and just, I feel like it has a timelessness about the themes of just like, just being a kid and just being kind of left on your own. I don't think that ever goes away. Right
there, timeline, because I'm old. That was my age when that movie came out, and that was the life. I mean, we were kind of, we would go break windows of factories late at night.
Oh man.
Structure shit like that, and but that movie hit me hard because the thing is, I bought the soundtrack to that movie 3 years before I saw the movie. I never even heard of this movie, but the soundtrack was so cool.
Yeah.
I bought it, and 3 years later, I saw it on HBO like at 1 a.m, and I was like, whoa. And I've become a huge fan of that movie because it is really of my time. Now, if you really analyze the movie, those kids were fucking jerks, Like, come on. Authorities kind of dick. But you guys are breaking car windows and all this shit. What the fucking spoiled fucks? But I realize that now that I'm old. But when I was young, I was just like those kids. Stupid as fuck.
I'm oh god, I love that. No, and I love it though when movies are kind of honest about just being like just being a weird ass kid doing dumb shit, because that's growing up. That's part of growing up is you have to learn a lot of your lessons the hard way.
And what makes that movie interesting, of course, because it's so old, no internet. No,
Mm.
you know, fucking hardly anything on TV. You'd have to create shit outside and do shit. And, where now it's like, now it sucks. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, no, that's and honestly that the whole pre-internet era thing, I kind of want to bring that up when we get into the meat of the episode because that kind of ties into some things for me too. But no, that soundtrack is killer. That is such a great. And just even every time I hear that song, like "Ooh, Child," I
Oh,
always think, right? Like, doesn't it just like hit you? Like, oh, it's so good.
because that's one of the records. Because when I was a little kid, I didn't have many albums.
Mm.
I played to death. I heard them over and over, and I would listen to "Over the Edge" over and over and over again. And yeah, it's the last song on the album.
Yeah.
And, it's beautiful, man. And just the other day, I was thinking, man, I know there was some that came out on Record Store Day, but I couldn't remember what it was. They put out the Over the Edge soundtrack on Record Store Day.
Oh shit! Oh god, I hope it's cheaper than 40.
And now it's everybody that has it is selling it on eBay for like $80.
God damn,
Well,
that's
it's
what.
funny
Oh,
you talk about that now. It's like, yeah, it used to be when I was younger, I'd hear "Ooh, Child." I was like, oh, yeah, the sad ending. And now I hear "Ooh, Child." I'm like, that's right. You load all them little motherfuckers up on the bus, you take their ass to fucking juvie. I don't want them motherfuckers walking around my neighborhood. Fuck them. Fucking little bastards.
that should be. They should re-release that movie, and I want that on the poster. "Quote unquote," fucking little bastards. Ian Wadley.
Yeah. Fucking
um,
Vincent Spaniel. I'll
um,
fucking whoop his ass. He come in my fucking front yard.
Vincent
As,
Spano.
as stupid as I was and those kids were, none of us were like, oh, I got a gun and I'm gonna go kill people and shit like that. And I'm saying all races do that now. You know what I'm saying? Word. Anyway, Ian, let's get into the news, man. We got to do the news, right?
All right. Well, hold on. Before we get in the news, though, I think the listeners they need to find out a little bit more about Mondo Heather Drain. How did you get into like all this awesomeness that you do?
Oh my god.
Because for those of you who don't know, I'm very much Ralph's into movies too. I'm very into movies and particularly boutique labels and cult films and stuff. And you keep popping up on all these amazing releases, doing commentaries, doing written articles, doing, voiceover on special features and stuff. How did you get into all this shit?
Oh my god. Well, I think like a lot of us, like growing up, there's just something about like when you're a little kid and you just have a primordial sense of like what you like. There's a little party that's like you hear a song or you see an image and you're like, ooh. And I was like that with music and I was like that with film. And of course, when I was real little, it was just me and my mom. Like she was a single mother, and she would bring home like books from the library about movies, like old movies and silent films, and I would read them. Like some of the earliest books I ever read were about those movies, and that just planted a seed where I just always loved, researching film and watching film, and same thing with music. Like I poured through. I know every album she had, and a lot of them were ones I didn't listen to because I love my mother. She's still to this day one of the most diverse listeners. But I can only handle so much Larry Gatlin, but thank God she has some AC/DC, so it evened out. But no, but I was always a writer. But it took me in my 20s, where a friend of mine who did a zine, my friend Keith Crocker was like, have you ever thought about writing a film article? And I was like, what? I was like, are you sure? And he's just try it. And I did it. I reviewed a movie called Crawl Space, which is an awesome 80s horror movie.
Kinski.
Yes, it's so good. And just it kind of from there, I just started writing for different publications over the years. And the first like podcast I was on was Projection Booth. I mentioned like with Mike, where I was talking about the opening of Misty Beethoven, which is a classic adult film that's in MoMA. And so, and I got to introduce him to the film Water Power, which is about an enema bandit. And we also talked about art films too, but just the wide array. But from there, it's just like, it's like anything, the more seeds you plant. And then, I was lucky enough to work with people like Kat Ellinger and Sam Deegan. And so got to collab with them. And then slowly some of the labels were like, hey, would you like to do an essay or commentary? And I'm like, absolutely. And so that's just kind of that's a Reader's Digest summary of it.
Well, one thing I want to let the listeners know, I mean, and check out all these amazing releases you're on. But what really blew my mind is when I got the Arrow Video did the 2 Count Yorga videos.
Oh, I love Count Yorga. Yes.
And you do the narration on one of the special features. Mm-hmm. And what I loved is you were very like informative and articulate without like sounding too highbrow. And I think that's a really fine line to do. You sounded very like professional but real. And that's what I love. Because you can listen to other, and there's, Lord knows there's plenty of other podcasts out there who will talk about an album and it was played in a diminished 5th minor chord and blah, blah, it's not entertaining.
Right.
Okay. But you were very, you had your facts, you had everything, but it was very much, definitely not dumbed down, but like on a way like anybody could appreciate it. But you added so much shit. It was really, I love what you added to it. And you are the only commentary that I've ever listened to all the way through. I need to go back because I have all these amazing releases with commentaries, with amazing people, with directors and the actors and stuff. The only one I ever listened to all the way through was the Kino Lorber's Times Square with you and Kat Ellinger.
Oh, yes. I love that. Was such a fun one to do.
And I watched it right after I watched the movie because it was something when that movie came out. I remember being a little kid when it was on the movie channel. I didn't know about when it came out in the theaters, but when it came out on the movie channel, them advertising it. And I was attracted, because it was like, 2 girls, and I like that, but they were young girls. I was like, oh, this could be a cool movie, but it looks kind of dangerous and stuff. But I never saw it all these years until Kino Lorber put it out. And then when I saw you were on the commentary with Kat Ellinger, who anybody who knows, the boutique labels and stuff like that, Kat's been part of so many commentaries.
Oh, absolutely.
You two together, and then to find out you did a podcast, but it was so engaging and informative, but not like, too, like I'm listening to NPR. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not going to do This Old House or whatever.
Right. No, but you've got a really good style. That's informative. Yet, you can have a GED and still get what you're talking about. And I love it. And I'm so proud. Like all of the great movies that you're part of, Caligula. Over the Edge. I mean, Count Yorga. All this stuff. Times Square. Every time I see you're a part of anything, The Hitcher.
Oh yes, that was yeah. No, that means the world to me because honestly, I think I'm not a fan of when people get too academic and dry. That's one of the things that I think I love so much about what you both do. Whether it's together or separately, is you're real. Your shit. You're funny. You're just very like you're no bullshit.
I hate to cut you off, but you got all the credential of being on extras and movies. You may not know this, but Ian and I do commentary on Ernest Goes to Boot Camp.
I will be buying that 4K immediately.
It's only on the laser disc.
God damn it!
Japanese laserdisc, and Ian and I speak the whole time in Japanese.
Yeah, yeah, we're really big in Japan, just like Mr. Big. Nobody else likes it. But,
Mr. Big, yeah. No, well, and I think that's one of the things, like when I got to actually, kind of know you guys, like through social, is like I think all of us just like I was like, man, this is so cool because like the film stuff would come up, like Ralph, like you loving Fan of the Paradise so much. And that's one of my favorite movies too. Like I love that film, and just and then Ian writing me being like, "Girl, you're on Times Square. What the fuck? Like that's awesome." Also, I can't pay you any more money, Ian. Okay, I am broke.
you can break off some crypto. Come on now.
Oh, gee, crypto money. Yeah, right. But no,
You got that umbrella money.
They are lovely, but no, I appreciate that. I honestly, I think. I always think if you truly love something, like I think people assume, I think especially if you're a horror movie fan, if you're a fan of like cult film, B movies, adult films, metal, hard rock, punk, I think a lot of times the major public just assume everybody's a dumbass, or a knuckle dragger, or a fanboy or whatever. And so my goal is always to be like, no, like everybody, there's plenty of smart people, but being smart doesn't mean you have to talk down to people. I'm not saying I'm smart, but I hope I'm smart-ish, but sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's just be, I don't know. I just think the world would be a better place if more people were just like, just real, just be who you are, be different, be you. It's beautiful. Don't be a butthole, and don't listen to Van Hagar. Yeah. Or do, so you can go back and realize how great David Lee Roth is.
Amen, sister.
Not
all right.
mix a vagina with a van. That's the lecture of today.
I don't like that.
Well, on that note, I do want to recommend, check out, like, if you're into, cult classic movies, some of these boutique labels, check out the ones, look at the special features, see what Heather's on, and man, grab those, because she knows her shit, and she's highly entertaining. Again, I'm so honored to have you on here, and I know Ralph is as well. We were really excited about this, and this episode we had to postpone this and plan it and do all this. It's worth the wait. Thank you for being here. Now's the part where you suffer. We're going to get into the show.
It's time for the news.
Yeah, time for the news. And you probably wondered, why am I getting teabag from David Lee Roth? Why not? The king has truly returned at the M3 Festival last night. David Lee Roth made his first live appearance in 5 years in front of 30 people at the M3 Festival. No, I'm kidding. It was a pretty goddamn good crowd, but Joseph Staub, our listeners, Joseph Staub were there, and god damn it, I get my Russells. Ryan T. Russell was there. I get him and Jim Russell confused. Yeah, Ryan T. Russell was there, and oh my God, I watched this shit, and I was, I'll tell you when he sounds like shit, because I've seen him when he sounds great. I've seen him when he sounds like shit. He came out there with a bunch of no-name musicians and Boys to Men singing backup, and I thought he did fucking great. I thought it was a lot better than I expected to be. Was it perfect? No. Was it still awesome? Fuck yeah. And the set list, all Van Halen. I wish he would have thrown in some solo shit, but it was all Van Halen. And I thought he did great. And the awesome thing is, if you go on Facebook right now, that's all you see in your news feed. It's nice to see no politics for a day. It's just all people either praising or hating David Lee Roth. And I loved what I saw. What do you think, Ralph, from what you've seen?
I loved it. And you gotta remember, he's like 70 years old now.
Yeah.
He didn't like sing like a dying frog like he has in the past couple tours. Here and there, but man, Boys to Men rules. I love those black guys helping out fucking Dave, and they're all the time when they ain't sitting there pointing at Dave like, yo, I love that shit. That shit was awesome. I wouldn't like it as much if it was all white people, because I'm not. I applaud black people more than white people because I'm not racist.
Unlike our former host.
Let's keep going.
Uh,
Heather, did you see any of the footage?
I have not, but I'm going to be seeking that shit out because I love one of my earliest childhood heroes, no joke, was Diamond Dave. Like, I actually remember teaching, I taught myself how to use my mother's turntable with her 45 of Panama. And
Nice.
yeah, Diamond Dave is king. I will always love him. And I can't wait to see that because that's, you always want to see your heroes, thriving. So.
No, I thought it was really good. Look on YouTube. I mean, and it's all over, Facebook and stuff like that. And, search around because you can definitely find some better quality and stuff. But still, I mean, I thought it was much better than I expected. And as anybody who's ever seen David Lee Roth live, whether it be solo or with Van Halen, it's impossible to frown. If you're at a show where this man's on stage, I mean, he has a presence. I even took a friend one time and he's talked about this before. He was not a Van Halen fan. He was like all about, Slayer and shit like that. And he was having a horrible day and I dragged him to go see David Lee Roth at fucking Universal Studios. It was like one of those summer concert things when Dave wasn't doing too well. And he was in a shitty mood and we got there and he was just smiles from ear to ear by the end because that's the energy this guy exudes, versus Sammy Hagar, which is like, going to see like your dad get up on stage. If your dad's like uncool, but he's trying to look cool, that's Sammy Hagar. That's, he's got, he doesn't have what Dave, just flows out of him, which is big dick energy. Fucking,
Big Dave
Sammy,
energy.
yeah, Sammy Hagar has like, I need, Cialis energy. That's what you get from a fucking Sammy Hagar show. But it's funny, if you go on the internet, it's all like Sammy fans, like all 30 of them versus, all the Dave fans and shit. But I'm happy as shit. But again, it's one show. He's talking about going on a tour. Could this shit sustain for a whole tour? Could it hold up like this? I don't know. But if this is how he goes out, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm really, really happy for the guy,
Yeah.
Return of the King.
Hell yeah.
All right. What else is going on? Probably a bunch of fucking stories about fucking Bobo bands we don't care about.
There better not be any stories about Bret Michaels.
Yeah, I doubt it.
We need a little like recording where it goes, aye, like that shit. I remember you like looped that in one of the Suck versus Sucked, and I was literally in tears. Like it lit. I'm gonna wake up.
No, not in the front. Jump in the back. Why?
Oh,
I gotta show you something.
Gross.
Oh God. So
that song is about rape. Did you know that?
what?
I Want Action is about rape.
Oh my God, no! Let me tell you what I want.
I'm gonna take her and make her. Come on, that's rape. She don't want it, but I'm gonna take it and rape it. He should have just said rape it. I'm gonna take it. That's okay.
What? I had no idea it was some Janie's Got a Gun shit. That's fucked up, man. I might have to reassess that. Oh God.
But then you'll have to listen to it, and you could just listen to listen to Unchained instead. It'll be better.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, though. As much as we bag on Poison, that is some funny shit to listen to when you're tripping on acid and you have to do a podcast. Because I don't know if you knew this, Heather, but that's the prerequisite. When we do a Poison review, we take LSD and then we review Poison. And that's the only way to do it. Because if you listen to that shit straight, that shit will scar you for life,
Yeah, listening to it on LSD kind of balances out. Balances it all out, so you don't go too far over the edge. Without asking, he'll go over the edge.
You know,
He balances it out.
I think
I want us to get to a point where psychedelics are so good that like Bret Michaels could open up for the Dead. You know, because that's when you're that fucking high, it's all gravy. You know, it's all
he
good.
replaces. The Dead are like, Jer Bear's been gone for a long time, man. Let's get that blues hammer. God, Bret Michaels on there.
Yeah, Bret Michaels and I'll be hair bears dancing around little bandanas.
Oh my God, no, the bears wear little bandanas and wigs. That's amazing. I think Ralph, you're totally both of you are onto something because years ago I worked at a record book and movie store called Hastings, and over the loudspeakers, wasn't Something to Believe in came on. And one of the girls I worked with, there was an older lady, she's a sweetheart, but she like came up to me and she's like, "Man, this song really makes you think." And I didn't know what to. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, sure, girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you say? You don't want to be like the asshole that's like, dude, it's fucking
bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Oh God, don't ever say that to Sal. I'd rather somebody told me to go to hell than they bless my heart. Like, everybody, she's like, this song. But she kept talking about it. There's like the whole line about like the veteran, and it's like, oh my God, like being a veteran isn't bad enough that you might, you've had to like just be in war situations and have PTSD most likely. But then you've got Bret Michaels. Oh my God, it makes you think. It really does.
I listened to that song with the Vietnam veteran, and he was telling me about how bad, the war was. He said that song was worse.
It's like that scene of the Deer Hunter. They believe for sure letting you just put Something to Believe in on the soundtrack.
That should have been on the soundtrack,
Oh my God. Oh, that is fucked up. I love it.
That's how when I listen to that shit, I'm just like.
When you listen to Poison, it's like, man, that shit makes you cringe. You take it on acid, you listen to Poison, it's fucking Richard Pryor. It's Richard Pryor funny.
Oh my. That's all the Grateful Dead need. They're like, we got a special guest tonight, CC DeVille, and then you're gonna have to hear like a 45-minute guitar solo.
When that stadium tour, CC DeVille is a version of a rock, and it was god awful. And the feedback from the people online were like, "Dude, that's awesome! I didn't know CC was that good." Oh, are you on acid?
And I'm like, yeah, I'm tripping balls, man.
Oh, CC did Eruption. No, he didn't. What he did was Disruption.
And somebody's like, they're like, man, that makes you think. That's so.
We're talking about Poison again.
I know. We need a news article. Like a letter for Death Row has been crowdfunded for part 2. Starring the girls of Rock of Love Bus.
It's terrible, and there's many reasons I'm going to go to hell, and this next joke is one of them. But if I was asked to describe CC DeVille's guitar tone, I would be like, that's what Glenn Tipton sounds like now.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Woo!
I said I was going to hell. God damn it! Spoiler alert!
Damn, that hurt.
Trigger warning.
Jokes like that when Malcolm Young was alive.
Oh, I love Malcolm.
Dude, Ian doesn't.
I do too. But everything's funny. No, but nothing's off limits. Goddamn.
That's not funny. You had to mention that wasn't funny. I'm still pissed.
Yeah, I know, but he don't remember the joke. Why you gotta, drag it on?
Oh my God. It's funny you mentioned Glenn Tipton. What was that, Ralph?
and he's the liberal.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm the worst liberal ever. They would kick me out of the club if I ever showed up.
They're like, oh, the Glenn Tipton joke? Get the fuck out. Oh my
The
god.
last it's the last time they ever let me MC an event for Pete Buttigieg.
Yep. Oh my god. It's funny you mentioned Glenn Tipton though, because Ralph, there was something you did recently that inspired me to watch the video for oh god, why am I blanking on this song? It was one of the singles off of Turbo that they made a music video for, and like Ralph is Ralph.
Locked in.
Yes, but Ralph, you were talking about Glenn Tipton and the Twinkie. And I was like, I know I saw this video when I was a kid. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I had to rewatch it. And Glenn Tipton holding that Twinkie is fucking hilarious. I know it's cheesy, and it's his look. He sells it. Like Glenn, great musician and Twinkie salesman. I love it.
Hey, I got another Glenn Tipton joke. You ready?
Mm.
Judas Priest said that Glenn Tipton played on the last 2 albums. Joke.
Oh, that's terrible. Now, see, that's mean. My shit was funny. You're gonna get hate mail for that shit, and people are gonna laugh at the shit I said.
People are going to sit eating a bunch of like cartoon hearts, and Ralph's going to get a whole bunch of "How could you?"
Even CC DeVille liked my joke, but not yours.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Oh shit!
Next story.
All right. Next story. Let's see. Not too much anybody gives a shit about. Oh, Gene Simmons. I guess he's touring again now. He had a bunch of dates get canceled, but now he's doing dates again. And our own Dick Twatkins, and Alan Tate were at the show. I think it was in Kentucky, because when you're at the top of your game, you're playing the VFW in Kentucky, just like Gene Simmons. But he had one of those, the $12,000 roadie for a day shit. And what kind of fucking, who would do that? And can I kick the shit out of him on stage? That's what I would pay 13 grand just to kick the shit out of that guy on stage. That's just.
Hey, Gene Simmons was going to play Miami Beach. I paid $12,000 to be his roadie. They canceled the show, and Gene was like, "Oh, I'm going to give you your money back." I go, "The hell you are!" Oh my God.
You keep that money and take some song lessons. God damn it.
But then I'm saving up again, because my goal is to give him thousands and thousands of dollars for me to bust my ass working for him. Oh my God. No, and honestly, now I'm going to be honest. He was going to play the beach, right? And I was like, all right, I'm not going, because I know the set list is going to be lame, right? I watched the set list the other day, and I even said, I go, if he plays Charisma, I'll go just for that song. I looked at the set list, and Charisma's on it, right? But everything else sucked so bad. I was like, no, I'm not doing that just for Charisma.
But you know why I didn't go to Miami Beach? No Jew is going to pay $12,000 to be his roadie. Come on.
But yeah, I wasn't going to go. I was like, one song. You know what they did? And I watched it. It was all right. They did a version of Bad Reputation to Lizzie. And
whoever, really? That's sad.
Whoever the jackass is that was like, House of Pain, Van Halen cover, Motorhead cover, Ace of Spades. Bad Reputation doesn't have like the cover of the band, because whoever made the video doesn't know Thin Lizzy.
Oh.
Fucking horrible.
It must have been a kiss tard. God damn.
That's
not a kiss tard. That's a kiss what? There's a difference.
Oh God. But yeah, so I was really shocked though to find, and I don't know why I'm surprised, but I really didn't think like people were gonna take him up on this shit for this roadie shit. But then again, I can't believe you fucking. What did you pay for that fucking Volt shit?
$2,000.
$2,000.
Yeah,
Dude.
but here's
You should have your ass kicked up one side of the street and down the other for that shit. That's just terrible.
But Ian, I'm rich. There's a difference
Yeah.
between me and you hobo.
Did you just call him a hobo?
He's a hobo and homo. He's a homo.
Oh, well, that's 2 checks I should get. Maybe I can afford this shit too. God damn it!
Oh my god! I will say in Ralph's defense, at least you left, you spent that money and had something to take home with. What is the roadie getting? Like, that's so sad. It's fucking sad.
You do get a bass to take home. A
but
bass that was
cost.
it was road played by Bobby Dahl.
Which means it's unused.
Yeah.
Bobby Dahl, no.
Yeah, it was road played by Bobby Dahl, autographed by Nikki Sixx.
When he wasn't like giving sandwiches to the kids on the street.
You remember?
I do. I don't know if I ever told you, Ralph. I used to be on the metal sludge board too, back in the day, and yeah, that was the fucking ongoing joke. It was like, oh, you know, Nick.
Yeah, sharing a sandwich in the street. I remember.
Oh.
I was on the metal sludge board. My name there was just metal. I was very active on there. I don't know if you remember a guy called Iggy Pop will eat himself.
Oh my God! Will wasn't? Yeah, I think no. He was awesome. No, me, him. I don't know if you know there was a secret groupie board.
No.
There was, and like it was invite only. And it was like all girls, but like everybody loved him, and he got invited to it. And but no, he like. Yeah, he was a great guy. I was so sad when I heard he passed. Like he was such a cool dude.
No, what I heard was when his funeral, he couldn't fit no more people in there. It was
that's awesome. That's beautiful, man.
I had an encounter with Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop was walking his dog in South Beach.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, Iggy, and then I go, hey, Iggy, there's this guy on this board. His name is Iggy Pop will eat himself. And Iggy went, ah! And kept on. That's your boy, Iggy Pop. Did I ever tell you Iggy Pop?
What's that?
I never told you when I met Iggy Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was walking his dog. And that same stretch, another time I saw Madonna. I didn't say nothing to her, but that was Madonna. With a big, tall black lady. It was a very, there was a lot of celebrities living around there. Steven Tyler lived there. David Lee Roth lived there. So I never bumped into him. But all my friends did,
Yeah. No, the boards back then were great. There was one girl, beautiful girl, but she in the private boards, I keep all the names secret, but she actually she got to have a little tryst with Mick Jagger. And she was like a single mom, and I made like a Bill Wyman, like, don't let Bill Wyman babysit your daughter joke. And she laughed, and they were like, yo, those were cool days. I wish we had known each other back then. Like, I think my handle at the time was like Ultra Twist, because I've always been a Cramps fan, but like.
I was there a lot, man. That was the message board crazier.
Yeah, I was there too. I was Pretty Boy Floyd 74. that was me. But my favorite thing on Metal Sludge, I loved the penis chart.
Oh,
do you guys remember that?
I do. But some of the reviews were my favorite. Like what they said about Dana Strom was.
I don't remember Dana Strom. The two I remember was fucking Wild McBrown. This lady was saying how it was like it looked like one of the mushrooms off of fucking Mario Brothers. but she said it could have been the coke. But she just said he had the littlest dick. And then there was a lady who claimed to sleep with Paul Stanley and said it was the worst orgasm face she had ever seen.
Oh.
Like he was posing the whole time, he was fucking. And then when he came, it's like, he was crying and wanted to be held and shit, don't look at my ear.
He starts singing, "Hold me."
Yeah.
Gross. I just picture him making that noise, like those, like not like prime Paul Stanley, like doing Heavens on Fire open, but like the latter day going, "Ow, wow, wow," like they.
Like everybody had a reason to come except the woman sleeping with Paul Stanley.
Oh my God, that would. That's rough. That is. Thank God that sex tape never surfaced. Talk about live direct from hell. Oof.
I just saw a recent, this was wild. I saw a recent picture of Rob Halford with, what's that guy that drew those soup cans?
Oh, Andy Warhol. I love Warhol.
It's Rob Halford with Andy Warhol. And Rob Halford has a shirt that's full of different guys fucking each other.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet it's like a Tom of Finland kind of thing.
Like 1978. It's like, you didn't know back then? Look at that shirt.
Hey, did you guys ever watch those videos? I never checked it out. Who the fuck raped Janie Lane?
Nobody knows, but people are implying it's either Paul Stanley or Rob Halford.
Oh, I'm not buying either one of those. It sounded like I'm not proud to admit this. I did read Bobby Brown's book. And that's how I first heard that, because she was saying, and that was heartbreaking, because that poor guy. Like that's a hard thing to live with, and especially like God, anybody being victimized and having that thought process of blaming themselves, like that's rough. That's terrible. To me it sounded like somebody in power, like more like management. Or like, you know what I mean? Like that's the impression I got. I didn't really get the impression it was like a singer or anything.
I think it was Sammy Hagar that raped him.
Well, we're not talking Sonic. Right?
Yeah, thank you, because Sammy's definitely a bottom, so he didn't rape him. The smart money is on Bret Michaels. I think Bret Michaels made Janie Lane cry tough.
We're back on Bret Michaels.
I'm just saying. I think he took the bandana off, wrapped it around, Janie Lane.
Oh no! Stop it! No, stop it! Fucking no,
all right, I'm just saying. I'm saying a lot of fucked up shit happened in Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh my! Nobody
go down. No, not in the front. Jump in the back.
Oh no!
I don't believe it.
Why? I gotta show you something. Listen to the records. It's all there.
I don't believe for 1 second Bret Michaels took off his bandana and put it on. No way Bret is taking off.
Yeah. No, he didn't take it off. That's what he pays Cece to do. Because it sure as fuck ain't to play guitar.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be off camera for a second, but I'm right here. I'll be here and talk.
All right.
All right.
Well, we're having so much fun with makeup stories. There's like, nothing that's really in the news is going to count.
Well, this is better than probably anything news. Like you.
Oh, I agree.
You fucking nailed it, by the way. Your whole thing about Sammy having that energy of like somebody's embarrassing dad. You can see that motherfucker at like a TGI Fridays or Margaret.
Oh yeah.
Like he's totally like the divorced dad that he's single and ready to mingle, and you're just trying to have like the mozzarella sticks and ignore him, and he's like hitting on the waitress who's like 18, and it's just you want to die. You just want to set yourself on fire and be like, dude, stop it.
Like going back to Rocket Pot, he's like Joey Bro, but without the good dance moves.
I didn't know who that guy was. And I'm not saying that to be shitty, though. I feel like I should have, because of your intro. It sounds like I have like a lot of blind spots with who's popular on YouTube. And
you're better off not knowing. If you know him, you have a sad life. It's like, and I'm not on like TikTok or anything like that, but I see shit on Facebook, and YouTube, and he's big on that. But Yeah, no, that's what Sammy Hagar is. And if you look at his fans, if you look at Sammy Hagar fans, they are like Sammy Hagar is like if an Affliction shirt, was an actual human being. It's like a really lame white dude, who's really not that tough or cool, but they think they are, and they probably got truck nuts, hanging off their vehicle.
Fucking, oh my God. Oh, that's Affliction shirt. It's true though. Mr. I can't drive 55. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fucking lame. Like, serious. I will never fathom, I will never understand till my dying day how, of all the people, like, you can't replace David Lee Roth, first of all.
Right.
That's just a given. But of all the fucking people, was fucking Benny Mardones not a fan? like seriously, like I don't get it.
But it makes perfect sense though in a way though, because you see how it applies to the masses and the ignorant masses more. Just dumb it down, write stupid love songs, and people bought that, and there's a market out there for shitty music. I mean, that's like, what in the 90s or early 2000s became like Nickelback, and shit like that. It's just lame, white people music, just like the lamest of the lame,
Right. It's the Applebee's of music. It's
yes, exactly. That's a terrible thing to say about Applebee's.
I'm not sorry. Applebee's is terrible.
I performed live in Applebee's once.
Are you serious? Well, okay. Well, Applebee's did one great thing.
It's on YouTube. We were on tour and we were in Jacksonville, and we went to the Applebee's to eat, and they were having karaoke night. So I had my camera. I go, film me. I'm going to go up there. I fucking picked Karma Chameleon. It's on YouTube. And
that's awesome.
There was a fucking table of black people, and they were all getting into it. And I was like, "Let me hear you." It was fucking awesome.
They're ponying up like money and shit. Maybe this motherfucker do that Crying Game song too.
That's awesome. I would rather. If I was ever gonna go to Applebee's, it's only if somebody's gonna tell me Ralph Vieira is there.
Yeah.
And gonna do karaoke.
Type in on YouTube, Dr. Fuck Karma Chameleon. It's fucking awesome. It's great. And then in the middle of the song, all right, I'm not gonna mention which band member, but he was trying to give me cocaine, and I didn't want to do no cocaine. And halfway through the song, where it goes, he comes and goes, he comes and goes. I was like, he gave me blow.
Nah!
He's like, shut up, man, what the fuck? He had cocaine on him, and I'm like pointing at him. He gave me blow.
I'm just impressed that somebody was offering cocaine at Applebee's. I figured that's much more of a meth kind of situation.
Well, and I would even say to him, I go, dude, cocaine's expensive. Why do you want to give me?
Yeah. Applebee's, come for the chips and salsa, stay for the fentanyl.
Yeah,
Applebee's. When your ex is at Waffle House, go to Applebee's.
Remember when that chick was choking at Waffle House? Were you there, Ian?
Was that Rockin' Pod?
Yeah, some girl almost died, man. She was choking at the Waffle House.
Jesus.
And
Yeah.
They gave her the Heimlich.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get involved, man. I was eating my smothered hash browns. I was like, I ain't got time for this shit.
Oh, God.
Next.
I'm glad she's okay.
No, she ain't okay. She was at fucking Waffle House at 2 a.m. She's got problems. She got problem. You know who's got even more problem? Her kids. Why was that woman at fucking Waffle House at 2 a.m?
Mama,
Those poor.
Mama, when you coming home?
Give me something to believe in. God damn it.
You know who also has problems? Me, I was at Waffle House.
Let's see. I've been at a Waffle House at 2 a.m. That's it's called going to a show and you're hungry after the show and you may have had some beers. You gotta eat some greasy food because that's a good idea. A friend of mine, I was not here for this, but when there was a Waffle House that opened in our hometown, and she was there after a show, and she said this couple went in the bathroom, you could hear them doing it, and I was just like, it's like, wow, well, when you're smelling the hash browns, the love is in the air. Somebody's playing the Burt's Chili song on the jukebox. You gotta, I just hope that God no child was conceived in that, though. Could you imagine, like, how'd you guys meet?
Hey, you're hungover, it's 3 a.m, you're at fucking Waffle House, and somebody plays Conway Twitty on the jukebox. What are you gonna do,
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
I heard that's how our old friend Andrew Jacobs.
Oh, no, bro.
Are you trying to get me put in the hospital? Did you see the shit I got sent to me?
Let's get off that lawsuit.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. What's the next story?
All right. Holy fuck, did you see this shit? The guitar player from Possessed that got shot.
Yeah, man. Wild.
What the fuck? I don't know. Are you familiar with the story, Heather?
I haven't heard the story. I've heard of the band. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, so the 60-year-old former guitar player Possessed got into it with a neighbor. Something about he's pissed because the guy's tree clippings were coming into his yard, and they got into this big fight. The cops show up, and then the former guitar player from Possessed gets into a standoff with the cops for like 45 minutes. Comes out with a gun, and he got shot and killed.
Yep.
Yeah. You can't make this shit up, And people who are close to this guy said the night before he was at Waffle House acting totally normal, They would never expect this from him.
At 2 a.m.
There at 2 a.m.
That's how tragedy turns into comedy right there, is the Waffle House. Did he have Burt's Chili? I think is the real question. There might have been some PCP in that chili that night. Holy fuck, that is nuts. Can you imagine, I think everybody's had some crazy neighbors, but somebody ends up fucking dying over lawn clippings? That's fucking stupid. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, fucked up. So, yeah. Fuck around, find out, man. Don't pull a gun on the cops, you dumb fuck.
That's actually also Waffle House's new slogan. Fuck around and find out. Waffle House.
Yeah, that's what happens the next day. Fuck around. Yeah, go eat some Waffle House at 3 a.m. See what the fuck happens to you the next day. Colonoscopy ain't got shit on fucking Waffle House, man.
You'd be crying tough in the bathroom, man. It's
That's
not gonna
right.
Everybody out there that has problems, go to a Waffle House at 2 a.m. That's another message from this show.
That's a great message, actually, because you'll realize that maybe your life decisions have been maybe a little marginally better than some other people at a 2 a.m. Waffle House. I love that. That is we need that on a poster, like with a kitten or something.
Waffle House, when you absolutely positively can't afford Denny's. Oh, God. So former Exodus singer Steve Zetro Souza announces he's going to do a South American tour now, and announced his backing musicians, and it makes perfect sense. I was hoping there would be some kind of maybe some thrash all-stars to go do this with, but no, it makes perfect sense. He got a bunch of nobodies. That's why he gets all the money. But I find it kind of odd, he doesn't want to tour, but now he's lost no job, and now he's going to go on tour. So, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'd go see Exodus now with Rob Dukes again. I liked what I saw on online. Have you seen any of the footage of the shit they've been doing with Rob Dukes, Ralph?
No, I really have no interest. I'm not really an Exodus guy.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was I thought he did. I mean, the energy I liked was high and you know, did good, So, all right, I told you there's no good fucking stories. Everything should go back to Poison.
Let's get into the review.
Well, let's see. I'm going here. I'm gonna look real quick, see if there's anything else. Uh, da- 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 da. Yeah.
You know what I read today? James Kotak is still dead.
Yeah.
And so is General Francisco Franco. It's Generalissimo Francisco Franco. He's still dead.
Oh, if only half our audience would get that joke, Ralph.
No.
You gotta be old. You gotta be an old fuck, man, and know what.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Fuck all the other fucking stories. Fuck this shit. Let's get into why we're here. All right, and that is the amazing Blue Oyster Cult. And when I talked to Heather, I was like, please come on the show, and she's like, no. And I was like, we can.
What?
I'm
That's
just kidding.
bullshit.
I'm kidding. But I knew you loved Blue Oyster Cult, and I was like, whatever album you want to do. And she's like, I want to do Specters. And I was like, awesome. So we've been planning this for a long time, and a lot of people, I announced this, because I'm so excited to have you on the show. I announced this a couple days ago on the Facebook page that we were doing this. A lot of people say this is their favorite Blue Oyster Cult album.
I got to interrupt for the first time ever on the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. CGI.
Yeah.
See the album we're about to talk about behind me? That's total CGI. That's AI shit right there, man.
That's not how it works, Ralph.
CGI to me.
CGI these nuts.
Some fucking Jurassic Park.
That shit looked like Lawnmower Man. You just held up a fucking record.
Oh my.
Coming live from Ralph's Commodore 64. But no, always excited to talk about BOC. And then to have you, Heather, is such a treat for us. Why is this the one you picked? Is this your favorite, or is there just, you found like the most interesting stuff to say about this? What was the reason for your choice?
Well, Blue Oyster Cult are one of my favorite bands ever. I've loved BOC for years. I think they're one of the most underrated rock bands. I feel like they don't really get their due, and I feel like Specters, even though it's got Godzilla on it, and it's a known album, I feel like people kind of tend to dismiss the rest of it a little bit in favor of like Agents of Fortune, which, I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take. Half of Agents of Fortune I fucking love. I will like die on that hill for half of that album. I feel like it's a little more imbalanced comparatively to Specters, to be honest. Like there's a few songs off Agents of Fortune I don't think anything sucks, for the record.
It's got Debbie Denise on it. That shit's terrible.
I know. Debbie Denise is terrible. I'm not a fan of the Revenge of Vera Gemini. It's okay.
Reviewed that album. We weren't that kind.
You
we were, we all like Tenderloin. And
Oh, Tenderloin. Oh my God. I'll go into Eric Bloom's voice here in a little bit.
Morning Final and Tenderloin. Oh, those two. Ooh,
masterpieces.
Love it.
What said on that episode, this is the reason Boys the Cult never exploded, because Don't Fear the Reaper, to me, is one of the greatest songs ever written, period. And it's on that album, and a lot of people bought that album for that song, and the rest was so weird. I don't think that album could digest with the normal listening fan that would just.
I agree.
They'd hear Don't Fear the Reaper. Oh, I love that. And then they hear the rest of it. It's like, oh. And
Yeah.
let me put it there. If Don't Fear the Reaper was on Spectre with those songs, or Cultosaurus.
Yes.
But that's the thing, yeah. Agents of 40, yeah, you hear Don't Fear the Reaper, you know, and then you get to True Confessions, and it's like, if you have an erection lasting more than 4 hours, you know, listen to True Confessions, you know. It'll cure that shit right away. Sorry, Alan.
Oh my God. No, I think I love that point. I think you're right. I think, and that's kind of the bitches. Like, I think one of the things I love the most about this band is probably the same thing that probably has kind of held them back from ever, because they are an eclectic band. They're a weird band. I mean, I love like Cultosaurus. I love that album, and I love Monsters on it. But I can imagine how a lot of people listening to Monsters, because it starts off like and they're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like jazz for like 30 seconds, and they're like, what the fuck? But
Ladies and gentlemen, David Sanborn.
I love that part. It reminds me like a smoky bar.
Yes. Oh no, I love that song. But yeah, that's a great point, and that's the thing, like the mystery of this band, and like with Specters, you know, it's one of my favorites. I can't pick like one favorite with this band. Like, let's just say like pretty much the 70s. If I just say an album, like, because I love all of them, and I love some of the 80s stuff. But Specters, it's such an intriguing album. I think it's almost all killer, no filler. And even my least favorite song, I still find things I love about it. And I think it's got this creep factor about it too. And that's the thing, is that we're mentioning like pre-internet earlier. I remember when I was a little kid hearing about Blue Oyster Cult, and I remember like hearing these things, how like they're like outlaw bikers listen to them. And this is an era, and I'll go more into this, the golden age of leather, but I think a lot of people that are younger probably don't realize being a biker pre 90s, pre Weekend Warriors, pre Sons of Anarchy, any of that, you really were on the fringes. And it was definitely like, and especially like if we're talking outlaw clubs, like you're into some dangerous shit. Like, this isn't like a lawyer playing pretend biker that you might see at like a motorcycle festival now. Like, this is
having his truck towed or having his bike towed to Sturgis.
Exactly. And also, like, I'd hear like, oh yeah, devil worshippers listening to them, and then you look at the pictures of the band, and there's like Buck Dharma in all white, looking like he's like about to do like some kind of Aleister Crowley's ceremony, and just they had the symbol looks kind of like a weird occult symbol. And when you're a kid, shit like that, because you don't have, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have anything to be like, no, these guys are actually just really nice, normal guys from Long Island, that are just really into science fiction and horror. But, when you're a kid and you have all of that, like, just like, ooh, what is this about? It makes it just that much more exciting. I mean, the music, of course, is the ultimate linchpin, but there's still a part of me when I listen to this album, it's like, ooh, there's that weird, creepy band, and I love it. I love it for that.
Back in the 80s, the Satanic Panic era, in one of the Bible Thumper shows, by the way, those were the greatest shows. I turned on to and they showed this, and they go, Oyster Cult, this represents questioning if Jesus ever existed.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those people are fucking crazy. I mean, I grew up Southern Baptist, and I had a friend who his parents, and this when he was in college, were sending him tapes about like the evils of rock and roll. But one of the bands they preached against was like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah, all the symbolism on the Earth, Wind, and Fire records.
Yeah, sounded like Bow Wow Wow. I'm like, what? Like, was I Want Candy? Was that too? It's gluttony. It's gluttony. It's evil. But BOC just and their music, because that's the thing when they do kind of like the darker songs, there's a lot of obtuseness they play with lyrically, and that just makes it all the more mysterious. Like there's a lot of bands that overtly sing about horror and science fiction, and for every like, I mean, I love the Misfits first album, but that's more cheeky and campy, and that's fun. It's harder to toe that line where it's, you can bring on the eeriness without it just being kind of campy or schlocky,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just think this is a phenomenal album, and just you're getting to hear these guys, the OG lineup, the classic lineup, each one getting to shine in their own way. Except for Alan, really. I'm sorry, I love Alan. I do love Alan Lanier, but
The
but
Smoking Man.
but I still love, it's just, I don't know. But what do you guys like? You guys, I know both of you are BOC fans like myself. Like, how does this album hit you guys?
Oh, I love this album. You see, the thing, not only this album, a bunch of those classic
Mm.
POC albums, I think what made them so great is that unlike other bands, they had many people with their hands in the pot. Like he had Helen Wheels and what was that?
Sandy Pearlman.
Sandy Perlman and the famous chick. What was her name?
Oh, Patti Smith.
Patti Smith.
Richard
Meltzer.
Mm.
People, and then you have the different vocals, and I'm a big Blue Oyster Cult fan. I've always been a Blue Oyster Cult fan, but in the past 10 years, I became a big Blue Oyster Cult fan. See, back in the day, I only owned like 2 or 3 albums, and I did get to see the classic lineup twice. The first time was with Heart at the baseball stand. The very first Motorhead show was that show. That was Cultosaurus Erectus tour. Then I saw at the Hollywood Sportatorium, it was Fire of Unknown Origins tour, and it was there, and you can see it on YouTube. I was at that show at the Hollywood Sportatorium, with Foghat, and Foghat was filmed that night. But man, it wasn't until I'd say around, it was more than 10 years. I'd say like 2010. I heard On Your Feet and On Your Knees. And that was like, oh my God. And then I got the Black and White album. Then for the longest time, Secret Treaty was my favorite album.
Oh, yes.
And then it was Fire of Unknown Origins. Now it's Cultosaurus Erectus. It flips. And this one, I would put this one at 4th. As my 4th favorite. But I'm a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan, and let me tell you, like about 4 months ago, they were playing some festival with, I think it was Earth, Wind, and Fire, or something. It was a weird billing, and I was gonna go, but they canceled it. I just found out today, while we're doing this episode, they're headlining the Hard Rock.
Nice.
And because the last time I saw Blue Oyster Cult, they were opening for Deep Purple. The last time I saw Blue Oyster Cult headline had to be at least 15 years ago. And it was a free show at the casino. They were playing like, it was weird, man. It was a little tiny stage, not many people there. But I've seen Blue Oyster. And then I saw them once at the Culture Room. That was probably the best time I ever saw them, because it's a little club and they were sweating their ass off. And they played that night, Take Me Away. I was like, oh my God.
Nice.
They played I Love the Night. They played Black. They just played all these killer. And they were playing like when I saw them at the Miami baseball stadium with Hart, that's how they were playing in the club. They didn't give a fuck. They love the music. They don't stop. And that they're sure on tour forever. They're not gonna do the whole farewell tour shit. And I worship this band, and I love the creepiness.
Mm.
The new. That's why my all-time favorite Blue Oyster Cult song is Beyond Creepy, Black Blade.
Yes.
The changes, and you can hear, like, you can picture UFOs and shit. I love that about them. You got the UFO, you got the dinosaurs, you got all this weird, Illuminati type shit. I always said Blue Oyster Cult is the house band for the Illuminati. You know, because I have a feeling though everybody in Blue Oyster Cult is part of Illuminati, and they know what's up, and the Illuminati also helps them write songs. That's what it sounds like to me, man. I absolutely love Blue Oyster Cult.
I agree. I did once see them playing the opening of a pizza parlor for Hillary Clinton.
Oh. Oh, man.
A lot of kids at that show. I was surprised.
Oh my god.
Fuck 'em.
You know, Buck Dharma was in charge of the cameras the night that Epstein died.
He was wearing that white suit. It's all of that. Yeah. I love that. No, that is a band you never have to worry about disappointing you. I think there's like a lot of like older bands that sometimes you might have a fear of seeing them live. It's like, is it gonna be sad?
Yeah.
No fear with Blue Oyster Cult. Those guys.
I just saw them last year at a horrible casino show. And not that they were horrible, but the setup, it was like a banquet hall. So like all the seats are like the same level. So like if you're so far back, you can't see shit. But I mean, Buck was down on his knees doing all this shit. They were playing like Ralph said, like they're headlining at Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. They were giving it their all. But I was raised on this band. My father was a huge fan of this band. In fact, I know I'm going to repeat a lot of my classic BOC stories, but Heather, you requested that I do that.
Yes, I did. I love your BOC stories.
But so my dad was in a big cover band in the Chicagoland area, and he got them to come to our hometown, which is about 50 minutes south of Chicago. They played at the YMCA on their first tour, because my dad's like, he was helping book bands and shit too. And he's like, oh, you got to get this band Blue Oyster Cult, out in
hell
New York.
Yeah.
So they played there on their first tour, and he loved them. He used to have the cymbal belt buckle that my mom made him throw away because it freaked her out, but now, it's like, I've got it on my arm.
That's awesome.
This is the one that Keith Roth had sent to Albert Bouchard. So Albert Bouchard now knows how ugly I am, but how great my tattoo is. But I've always loved this band, and this was the band that me and my father bonded over because he didn't like, he thought Kiss sucked. He was a New York Dolls guy. He thought they were fucking horrible. He hated a lot of the shit that I listened to, even though he turned me on to like old school hard rock and heavy metal. But BOC was the one thing that we always bonded on and agreed, and we never got to see him together because by the time he was taking me to concerts, BOC was basically playing bars around Chicago, and gigs I couldn't get into. So I didn't see them until the late 90s. My father had passed away, moved to Florida. And that's the one where, I got on stage with them, and, we'll get into that on the song, but I mean, I've seen them many times since, and my wife and I just went and saw them last year, and it was great. She was so excited to go, and I was the one kind of like, I'm not a fan of casino shows because they keep them short, so you get your ass out there and gamble, and it's just not what I look for in a rock show. But anyway, we went. She loved it. I loved it. I'm glad we went, overall. But this band has been with me my whole life. And they mean so much to me. In fact, the first show that I did go see, I burned that ticket and I put it with my father's ashes and shit, because that was our thing. We were BOC guys, and I grew up listening to this shit on vinyl. And I love the spookiness and the creepiness of it. And what I love is, Heather, you were mentioning earlier, they're not like the band that like beats it over your head like it's fucking Venom or some Norwegian death band. they do it subtly, and they do it like in a soft song, in a sweet song, but it's still talking about the most eerie shit. And that to me is far more evil. That's the kind of evil that seeps into you. It's not like, this like, and I love King Diamond, don't get me wrong, but
Oh,
it's not that
same. Yeah.
that card. This is like the real evil that's out there amongst us that like creeps in and you don't even realize it. I love that. And the music just runs the gamut from like, I'm my favorite era is the first three, the black and white era, their hard rock kind of metal era. But I mean, past it, they have beautiful pop songs that are just as evil as any of their metal songs. And in my opinion, one of the greatest songs they ever did came late in their career, Harvest Moon.
Oh, I love Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon, and
Yes.
that's one of the ones, like, if you go see them now, that is the newer song that they still always play, and for goddamn good reason, because it is like a Stephen King novel brought to life. And I always, like, by the end of that song, when he starts talking about, they'll find their bodies in the spring,
Yes.
it's like, it always, like, holy, it gets me every time. Um, and the vocals, the guitar work, Buck Dharma is so underrated. And when I interviewed him, it was so funny. My friend Josh Toomey set up the interview, and I was at work. Ralph and I, we have opportunities to interview a lot of people, but because of my work schedule, rock stars tell you when you can interview them. And Ralph has more time on his hands. I don't. I was actually at work. I'm hiding out like in a pump room, like interviewing. I'm hoping like I don't get a call over the walkie-talkie. I got to do something, talking. And I was fanboying out like a motherfucker. It was so awesome. But this band just means so much to me. And that through this show, Ralph and I have turned so many people onto, Blue Oyster Cult. And even, as Ralph just stated, from the time we started this show, he's a way more bigger Blue Oyster Cult fan than he was when we first started. And I love that shit, and we did an episode with Will Carroll from Death Angel talking about Cultosaurus erectus and shit, and just hearing from, other guys, metal musicians talk about this band, and he is a thrash drummer. This is a metal motherfucker. Loves this shit. But then again, he thinks Peter Criss is a good drummer, so what the fuck does he know? But, good guy, But
You're wrong. He's an Eric Carr guy.
he likes them both. He's got multiple issues.
No, he said Eric Carr is way better than Peter. He
Yeah.
also has a blues cult tattoo like yours.
Yeah. And so does Dave Chandler from St. Vitus. When me and him used to hang out, he was jealous of mine because he's like, mine looks like a fucking jail tattoo. Yours looks good. But and Dave Chandler was another one, St. Vitus, very much a doom rock band, but he loved Blue Oyster Cult, and they just have a lot to offer, and it's a shame that so many people just know Don't Fear the Reaper or Godzilla that we're going to get into, because they are a multi-layered, multifaceted band.
One thing you can tell them, there's so many great bands out there, like Thin Lizzy and shit like that. Blue Oyster Cult's got 3 hits,
Yeah, yeah. You bring up Thin Lizzy, though. I think that is a great fucking comparison, though.
Mhm.
Because if you own, Thin Lizzy is saying, if you only know Boys Are Back in Town, or you're lucky if you know a motherfucker that knows more than Boys Are Back in Town, but still there's like cowboy songs, Still in Love with You, or they might know Whiskey in the Jar because they're like, oh, they covered a Metallica song, But they're one of those bands that has so much to offer, but your basic bitch fan out there has no fucking idea. But that's why we're here. We're trying to turn a bunch of basic bitches into, real rock fans. And that's why we're talking about this album.
Yeah, check out Thin Lizzy, but don't check out the first three studio albums. I've been playing it deathly. Eric Values. It's totally different, but if you really get into later Thin Lizzy, then you'll get into that early. But Ian, I want you to tell your story of when you were on stage with Godzilla. I mean, with Blood Skull, when you take the first song, Godzilla.
I will. Actually, I want you to interview Heather's sweet dog that wants to get some.
Oh my God.
I gotta pee before I get into the onstage story. I'll be right back.
Yeah, my office door the lock doesn't latch, and I usually have to like prop something against it when I'm recording, like I'm in a zombie apocalypse. But I didn't do that, and he busted through like a little Kool-Aid man. That's Brody Lee. So he's been a good boy though. So that is good. I'm so excited about Ian's story. By the way, I very like the first time I heard it is so funny. But I guess should I tell my BOC story while he's peeing? Yeah. I got to meet them. I've only seen them live twice, and the first time was I want to say like maybe around like 09, maybe 08. But the place that worked at the time, there was a manager who worked in the same building, and him and his wife had a side hustle where they worked at the Amp, which is like a local kind of stage. They were like an outdoor theater. Well, they still are, but it was in Fayetteville at the time. He knew I was a Blue Oyster Cult fan, and he knew I was going. I had lawn seats, I had shitty seats, and he comes up to me. He finds me at the show during the opening act, which is like Georgia's Satellites, and he's like, "Hey, Heather, you want to sit in the VIP?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do." And so I have to sit there, and I'm like, "Oh, this is nice." And then a little bit later, he comes up, and BOC aren't on stage yet, but he's like, "Do you want to meet the band?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking?" I didn't say fucking, but I was like, because I worked with a guy, I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, no. I mean, it'll just be real quick, little meet and greet. But I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I was so scared. I was so nervous. This was my first time ever meeting like an artist I was in awe of and admired. And I stood in line. It was like me and a bunch of like kind of like Real Housewives of Northwest Arkansas. Like it was like I stood out. Like I'm like wearing an Eraserhead t-shirt, and I got like torn fishnets on. And there's me in line, like so nervous. And then there they are, my heroes. And Eric Bloom looks at me, and I hear him go, "Whoa, tall girl." And I'm 5'8", 5'9". I mean, I'm tall for a girl, I guess. It's not like I'm Grace Jones. Like I'm not.
We're a short band.
Oh my God, they are tiny. Like holy shit. I knew Buck was like smaller. I thought Eric Bloom would have been like 5'11". Like I'm taller than Eric Bloom. Like holy shit. But the cool thing was Rudy Sarzo. This is when he was playing with them, and Rudy, like, because it's the thing where you like say hi to the band, they take your photo, and then you're kind of like, but Rudy like sought me out, and he made a point to shake my hand and like look me in the eye, and he's like, "Thank you so much," and he was so genuine. It's such a sweetheart. I mean, I was a very fan of Rudy Sarzo anyways, because he's amazing. What a fucking nice guy. Like, and he was like, "Man, you're kind of young to be here," because I was, that's when I was in my 20s, and it's again me with the Real Housewives of Northwest Arkansas. So, but he was so sweet. But yes, I got called a tall girl by Eric Bloom. And Rudy Sarzo is the man. That is my story, which is still, I think, a pittance compared to Ian's amazing story.
Yeah, but no. Well, we did both get to meet Rudy Sarzo, but we've all met Rudy Sarzo. That man does more to the bass with his tongue than Bobby Dahl does with his fingers. I just had to put that out there. Get back to
fucking Bobby Dahl.
Hey, I got
it is. Go ahead, Ralph.
Eric Bloom called Heather Drain a tall girl, but you know who's a real tall girl? Andrew Jacobs' wife. Because when that chick says coming to my window, that chick lives on the second floor. That's tall.
Well, I don't know if she's I think she was standing on Andrew's back, like, "Get down there, you cuckold. I got to look through Dr. Fuck's window."
Hey, it's still tall. It's the second floor.
So, my infamous Blue Oyster Cult, the first show, there great instances at my first two BOC shows, but the first one, like I said, meant a lot to me because I'm thinking my dad the whole night, and over medicated, got very drunk. I was very excited to see him. It was at House of Blues in Orlando. Not a very well sold show. They were headlining, and I was definitely, besides my friends who were with me, the youngest people there. But I got up front. I was like, oh my God, this means so much to me. And I'm singing every lyric to every song. And these people are, older fans that are around me are amazed that, I was probably 24, 25 at the time, that I knew all these songs. And this one guy, he looked like like an older Adam Sandler. He's like, oh, that's fucking awesome. I'm like, I love this band. And he's like, you got to get up on stage. And I was like, okay, and keep in mind at this time, I'm about 155. I was young, thin, very light. They picked me up, threw me up on stage during Godzilla. And that's how I got christened Wadzilla. So they throw me up on stage and I get up, and as Heather will attest to, they are very short. And I'm not a tall man. I'm like 5'9", 5'10" in heels, but I'm towering over these motherfuckers. But I'm drunk as fuck, so I go up to fucking Buck and I put my arm around like, yeah! And then I go over to Eric, I'm like, yeah! And then you see security on both sides of the stage, and I see them fucking coming at me. I'm like, oh fuck. So I jump back towards the drums. Bobby Rondinelli was the drummer at the time. I jumped back on his drum riser. And it was some Keystone Cop shit. The two security guards come running at me. I jump back. They hit each other and fall down. I look out into the fucking crowd, the sparse crowd that it is. And I'm like, I was going to stage dive, but I'm like, these fucking motherfuckers ain't going to catch my ass. So I go running from the drum riser, and for whatever reason, I do the Karate Kid like the crane kick. And I land out into the middle of the crowd at the House of Blues. My friends that I came with are tripping on shrooms. The motherfuckers, they only had a little bit, so they didn't tell me they were fucking tripping. I had no idea. I found out later, like, well, we didn't have enough to share. So I'm like, oh, you fucking pricks. So I land out there and they're like, right on, man, right on. And I figured if I landed in the middle of the fucking crowd, I was like safe. I was like, I'm okay. All right, cool. They won't recognize me. So I keep rocking out. I'm like, yeah, Godzilla. And then all of a sudden security grabs me. I'm like, oh, fuck. And they drag me. Like, if you've been to one House of Blues, you've been to them all. You got the main floor. There's a bar on each side, and then you got the upstairs and shit. So they take me to the right side bar. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen? I'm so wasted. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go to jail or what's going to happen, or if they're going to buy me a drink because they took me to the bar and then just left me. So I'm sitting at the bar like, finally a guy comes out, they throw me out the side door, and I'm like, fuck, House of Blues is at Disney World. Like, what the fuck am I going to do at Disney World, I'm not even allowed, within 500 feet of children, so I'm kind of scared. And so I just go around to the front and I go walk back up to the door and I start talking to the guy working the door. And I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, not much, got a show. I was like, can I get in? He's like, oh, you got to have a ticket. I'm like, oh, I already got an armband. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And he goes to let me in. And as he goes to let me in, here walks by one of the security guards who threw me out. He goes, no, fuck that guy. He just got fucking thrown out. And he made me, I not only had to go out the door, but I had to stand off of House of Blues property. I had to go out in the fucking aisles, and to your left, Margaritaville, kind of shit, So I wasn't allowed back in. Luckily, Godzilla was there was only a couple songs afterwards. But I was so terrified, I thought I was barred for life from the House of Blues. The next show I went to, I was actually scared. Like I wanted to put on like a Groucho Marx mask because I'm like, they got to have pictures of me. You know, I'm probably blacklisted. You know, I can't get in. Nobody gave a fuck. You know, went on to see fucking hundreds of shows at the House of Blues. But that was, that was that show. And what's funny is I talked about that on a BOC chat, like a Facebook page. Somebody was at that show and they're like, "You were that asshole?" And I was like, "As a matter of fact, yes, that was me. I am said asshole." But then I saw him like maybe 4 or 5 months later. They played the Brevard County Fair in Florida, and it was Molly Hatchet and BOC. And it was like, at like a softball field and shit. And went there and man, I'm fucking up front, like, yeah. And some girl behind me threw her shirt up on the stage. And Eric Bloom held it up and then just threw it back out. Well, when he threw it back out, it landed right in my arms. I'm like, I'm keeping this. He touched it, Finders keepers, mother. And this girl keeps tapping me on the back. And she's like, that's my shirt. That's my shirt, sir. I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You threw it up on there. He touched it. It's mine now. And the funny thing is when he threw it, you got the little guard between the stage, you got the railing, then there's like, this far and then the stage. So when he threw the shirt, I dove over the fucking gate and landed head first, just like my head went into third base, like doink. Like this. I got like orange sand all over my fucking head, but I got the fucking shirt, But this girl wanted her shirt back. I'm like, fuck you. And then her boyfriend came up to me, and then I'm so fucking drunk again. I started bowed up. I'm like, I'll fucking kick your ass, motherfucker. He's like, whoa. But yeah, that's I take BOC seriously, god damn it. Then I saw him a couple months later, back again at House of Blues, opening up for Joe Walsh. And I've probably seen him about like 5 times. Amazing every time. But so I was christened Wadzilla after that. And where I worked, we had a bowling league. And that was my first Wadzilla shirt, because everybody had their name, but mine was Wadzilla. And of course, I would get drunk at bowling. Do you see a theme here? But they used to sing that at bowling, like, "Oh no, he's too drunk to bowl. Go, go, Wadzilla!" And I'd get up there and throw a gutter.
Oh man,
anyway, I like BOC. Are you happy, Heather? Did you?
I'm very happy. I didn't know about the T-shirt incident. It made me granted, this isn't near as colorful, but when I was in like the VIP area at one point, this lady kept tapping me on the back, and she was like, "Can you come back here and let my son sit there?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "He just graduated." And I was like, "No," and I just like ignored her. But I was like, "Bitch, like, oh, you graduated high school? That's not that impressive."
Yeah.
Especially in Arkansas. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like,
Usually I have chivalry, but at BOC I didn't. And then there was, I saw David Lee Roth in a bar, and I was like knocking chicks out to get, closer to Dave. Oh, well, not like intentionally, but I'm like, bitch,
like you turn into Ike Turner. You're just like shoving cake in women's faces. You're like,
I swear to God, at one point he's like, it's a fucking bar. There's no fucking like barricade or nothing, and he went down like this. And when his hair went, like sweat went on me, and I was like, ah! I was just like, I totally fangirled out, and like, I wasn't letting no fucking hoe get next to me just because she was dressed shitty. I'm like, David Lee Roth,
I would have done
BOC,
Same. They are so great live, and the lineup they have right now. Richie.
Amazing.
Oh my God, Richie Castellano. That guy is fucking awesome. Like that voice, that musicianship. I love his songs on The Symbol Remains. That guy, I mean, like the whole band's great, but like getting to like the last time we saw them, which was 2022. It was standing room only, and it's one of those things where first come first serve. So we got there like super early and just planted. I'm like, we are not fucking moving. Like, I don't, if I have to get a kidney infection, so be it. I will drink a ton of cranberry juice afterwards. But I'm like here for BOC and getting to be like closer and just see them. But man, I was like, Richie's like the low key MVP.
Oh
Of
yeah,
the,
well,
of the
he's
current
definitely
living.
brought a passion back to the band, and he has a sense of the history and
Mhm.
knows what makes him. I mean, in my opinion, until they got Richie, they never recovered from losing Albert. You know, Albert was such a huge part. Not only the drumming, but the singing and the writing and stuff. And with Richie, I think they finally got somebody back in the band that can contribute the way he did. Is he Albert? No, but he is that kind of contributing member where a lot of the other guys were just like a replacement part. He's added so much to that band. Awesome.
Agreed. Agreed.
Oh,
But like from Wadzilla to Godzilla, am I right? 'Cause that's
yeah, exactly. And you are our very special guest, so you take the first track, Godzilla.
oh my god. I mean, what can one say about this song that isn't just so obvious? I mean, granted, is it a little overplayed to compare to some of the deeper tracks? Yes, but it's still Godzilla. It's still great. You got, written by Buck Dharma, the man. Great Eric Bloom vocals, and I love all the lyrics in BOC songs. I always love kind of just reading. This is a band that I think it really pays off to read like all of the songs, read the lyrics, and just it nails just that whole like vibe of history shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man. So you're getting that nice, really great callback to OG 50s Godzilla, who created through atomic people toying with atomic energy and war, and it rules. I am really jealous of anybody that got to see them live when they had a giant Godzilla head on stage. Some people may call that cheesy, but some people are wrong. And because that shit is fucking lit. Like I love this song. I don't have a whole lot to add to it other than just it rules. So but
Awesome.
yeah, Ralph, what do you?
I got to see the big Godzilla.
Oh,
Both of them.
jealous.
The smoke coming out and eyes glowing. And he introed it with "I was smoking a bowl." And I hear a thump thump outside. He was smoking a bowl and one people freaked out like, "Oh, killer! He gets." Anyway, by the way, before I go into the Godzilla, check it out. More CGI.
More, whoa.
Whoa.
There's the live album. CGI.
That's
Uh, Before you get into that, really cool thing people need to look up online. There's an amazing interview. I can't remember if it's the Metal Voice. Could be somebody else. But they got with Albert Bouchard and they went to that church that photo was taken at. And they talk about that album.
oh.
What's it, the Metal Voice?
What's funny is my Willie. Willie. Him
Yeah.
and his wife, like last year, went there and took pictures in front of it.
Nice. Nice.
Anyway,
Awesome.
the perfect hard rock 70s. The riff, that clean solo, man. Just the catchiness of it, the whole "There Goes Tokyo," and it's a perfect song. It really is. As far as like hard rock, borderline proto metal, that is definitely one of the best songs on this album. Not my favorite. Probably my second favorite. I love Godzilla, Ian.
Well, I love it too. I mean, God damn it, it's my namesake. That riff, though, that fucking riff, that alone should have Buck up there with Iommi and Blackmore, like on the Mount Rushmore of riff writers. And Blue Oyster Cult is a band, even fans would like great songwriting, great all this, but they're not looked at as like, riffs like fucking, Iommi or Blackmore or Angus or anything like that. But that riff alone is right up there. And I think sometimes it's overshadowed because the song is overplayed, but it's overplayed for a fucking reason. I mean, god damn, that it's so basic, but it's so like guttural in the way it hits you. That da-na-na-na-na. I mean, that's fucking Iron Man. That's Smoke on the Water shit. That is fucking so like, 1-2 buckle my shoe, but fucking punches you right in the fucking gut. I love it. And it just takes me back to being a kid. I'll never forget going to this store. I don't know if this was like a regional thing to Illinois or if it was in other cities, but there was a chain store called Hornsby's, and went there and I threw a temper tantrum at like 4 years old because I wanted all the Kiss dolls. When the Kiss dolls, they're not action figures, they're fucking dolls. You fucking Kiss tards, they're fucking dolls. Anyway, my grandmother couldn't afford to buy me that, so instead she bought me the Godzilla where the hand shot off, and on the back, you'd pull a little lever on the back of the head and the fiery tongue would stick out and shit. And I would play with that and I would listen to this song because my dad had it on vinyl. I love this shit. What else do I got on this? That's about it. I mean, it's a perfect track, and it's one of those that's classic for a reason. And it's one of those I never get tired of hearing. We've talked in the past in many episodes, like classic songs we're just so burned out on. And, but there's those ones like, no, I never get sick of this. I never get sick of Godzilla. I would never change the radio. If I listened to terrestrial radio, at this point in my life, I would never change a channel because this was on. I would never put on this album and, skip to the next song to not hear this. I fucking love it. But then we go into the next song, and holy shit, is this a weird one, but an awesome one. Golden Age of Leather. This was a grower for me. I remember as a kid, I would put on this record and listen to Godzilla, but when this came on, it was just like too weird, too different. It starts out with the raise your hand. I'm like, what is this, fucking Queen? And just all the musical changes and everything. It was too much for me when I was younger. But as I got older, I was like, man, I'm like, okay, I'm digging all the different changes. But the part that really gets me is like the breakdown when it's like, I came here willingly, and I mean, that's like the hairs on the back of my neck. And he's like, and I will go out, or whatever the fuck he said. I don't know. I love that shit though. I mean, that's like, now I embrace all the changes and all the different musical shit. At first though, it was weird, but now it's like, god damn it, I love it. And it is a biker anthem. And this was something, the lyrics were written, let me see the guy's name here. It was a colleague, a college colleague, Bruce Abbott, went to college with Buck, and he wrote this song about it because he thought like bikers and Harleys were on their way out in the 70s. Like, this is, this is going to be the end. It's all over. I'm going to write a song about it. Little did he know that Harley shit and, Sons of Anarchy, this shit would go on forever and ever. But it was his, like, I'm just writing this. And bikers love this fucking song. And I always talk about when I saw BOC, it was Christopher Cross, Blue Oyster Cult, and Foghat. And all the bikers that I hear. Aw.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's how good the song is, though.
I know. Excited too. But yeah, to see all these bikers dancing to the theme from fucking Arthur, it was fucking awesome. But damn well they were there to see BOC and Foghat. But I love Golden Age of Leather now. They played it the last time I saw them. I believe that was the first time I've ever seen them play it. And it went over live, like, fantastic. Great live track. Heather, I'm going to give you a break and go to Ralph first.
Yeah.
Played this song too. The last time I saw them, they opened with Dr. Music, and they went right into this song. I love the song. I love Buck's voice on it.
Oh yeah.
So and those changes, like that part you were talking about. And it's fun, man. It's a fun listen. I mean, this is stuff that you got to hear more than once.
Yeah.
And hear a bunch of times for it to sink in. But when it sinks in, freaking amazing. And thankfully, it already sunk in when I saw them. And I was like, oh shit, they're doing Golden Age of Leather. I love it. All right, Heather, what do you think?
I beyond love this song. I think it is totally perfection. It's so funny. You mentioned having the hair on your neck stand up. There are parts of the song. Even it doesn't matter how much I listen to it. Like even like listening to it today, I got goosebumps. Like, and it's just there are parts that are just the harmonies, the build up, the epicness of it. It's a perfect song. Some of my absolute favorite guitar work by Buck. I love the lyrics. I love how real it is though too, because again, like no romanticism. It's like it's mentioning, parts that could be kind of romantic about being a biker, being in this gang, but then there's that whole line, and it's almost like a throwaway if you're not listening, but the whole like a wanton child too tired to care being passed basically to man, it's like, yeah, they're pulling a train on this girl who is fucked up like that. But that was the reality, like that's how a
Yeah.
lot of women were treated in these gangs, like, and they're just saying like this is the shit, this is the story, this is the reality. And I love that. I feel like BOC are so good about that with their songs. Like they don't have to, again, it's like we are kind of talking about with the eeriness too. They don't have to beat you over the head with anything. Like they're so smart and how they just, handle everything. And then you get to like the way the song ends with that boys choir, which I believe was the Newark boys choir, and
Yeah.
it's just so eerie and just gorgeous. And I think this is one of their best songs, and they played it the last time we saw it. And I actually found it today that Chuck, my husband, he knew, he'd been like studying like setlist.com, and I
Yeah.
don't really pay attention to stuff like that if I'm going to a show because I kind of want to be surprised, and he knew that there were good odds they were going to bust this one out, and he didn't tell me because he knew, he wanted to see the look on my face. And yeah, I freaked out when they started doing the raise your can like that. I was like, oh, like I was like fucking losing my shit. I was so pumped. I was so fucking pumped. And especially because you guys know how it is. Like you're surrounded by a bunch of drunk people that are like, Godzilla. Yeah, and I love Godzilla too. But when they're pulling out songs like this and you're the fan, it's
Yeah.
like you feel seen. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it's not only one of the best songs on the album. I just think it's one of their best songs. Just
Nice.
yeah, love it.
All right, we'll take the next one, Death Valley Nights.
Ooh, what a strange song. This one actually for me was like a grower. Like, because I mean, it's hard to follow up, I think, the majesty of Golden Age of Leather. But the more I listen to it, I love Death Valley Nights. I think it's got a nice desperation about it. Like, and I love Albert. I love Albert Bouchard. I'm so glad you guys are rating that love on him because I think this whole band's underrated. I think Albert, more people should know that name. Great drummer, great
Oh,
songwriter. Yeah, love his vocals. I mean, this is the man that gave us Cities on Flame. Like, he is the man. And yeah, this is him working with Richard Meltzer, and of course Richard also worked on Harvester of Eyes, which is another favorite of
oh
mine,
yeah.
and Lips in the Hills, which by the way, you were talking about what the like Illuminati shit, like Lips in the Hills, like what? No, I love this one. I think it's got just it's like one part almost like you could see somebody in like a wasteland, like a desert wasteland situation, but you could also just be like a guy at the end of the line, and you just get that great chorus. I love the chorus. Just what I need is a kiss from you, babe, before it's hangover time. Love that. That just paints a whole picture right there. Yeah, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Good.
Ralph?
All right, I'll take it. Go, Albert's voice is awesome. On the song is very moody, and it's just man, listen to this shit. I'm telling you, like as I said, it takes a few listens, to get it. Now it's like, wow, it takes me like into like an unholy universe, man. It transcends, bro. This music, if you sit down and just listen to it and just let it sink in, this is one of those that can transcend you to an unholy universe. That's what I think about that song.
Hell yeah. I love this one. There's something creepy, evil, and beautiful about this all at the same time. Um, and again, this points to why Al was so important to this band. Not only, because it added that kind of like Kiss thing, that Beatle thing where different members had a voice and you never knew who was going to sing the next song, but it would add a different flavor to it. And Al's songs definitely had their own flavor to them, vocally, lyrically, musically. And what I love about this, it just reminds me of like growing up. Like I grew up a Midwest kid. Heather, you're in Ohio?
No, no,
No.
I'm in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know when the seasons change, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But this is the kind of shit like I want to listen to on a fall day, like when the leaves are changing colors and like right before right around dusk. This is the evil kind of like weird shit I want to listen to, and I absolutely love it. And this one I was looking up. This was only played. Let me see, 6 times. 6 times by BOC. The last time they played this. Well, 2015. It was probably a show when they had Al there. But yeah, only 6 times. This was a love song written by Richard Meltzer, who we've talked about, co-wrote a lot of their classics. It was about a relationship he had, some love and hate relationship, and said Richard was going through, this is Al talking about the song. He said Richard was going through a rough time when he wrote this song, and it's one of his most heartfelt lyrics he ever came up with. But I dig it. There's just something so I don't know. It's creepy and beautiful at the same time, and that to me is the beauty of BOC when they walk that tightrope between the pretty and the grotesque, and I think they did it in spades here. I'll take the next one. Searching for Celine. This was one written by Alan Lanier, sung by Eric Bloom. You hear that bass? Ooh, I love that Joe Bouchard bass on this one. Another unsung member. I love Joe. Not as important as Al, but still important. Just a funky like rocker track. I love. It's all over the place. A lot of this album is all over the place, and I think it's kind of a response to, the last album. You have the hit with "Don't Fear the Reaper." And this album is so different from, it's more in line with Agents of Fortune than it is the first three, but you can see like everybody in the band is trying to like figure out what the next hit's going to be and let me have my voice and let me do this. And I think that's a big part of the appeal to this record is how all over the map it is with everybody in the band trying to find their own, Don't Fear the Reaper and shit. But if you look at the, let's see, what's this song about? I'm going to find out real here. Oh, this is, or no, Searching for, I hit the wrong fucking button. I love alcohol. Don't love me.
Oh.
Okay, so this song was about Louis Ferdinand Céline, a French writer from around the turn of the century. As such, Searching was written as searching for a he instead of a she. Céline suffered from narcolepsy, which is an affliction which causes one to fall asleep at any time without warning, which fits the lines, I don't know why she's sleeping, I know why she's tired. But I don't know. It's just a funky track. And Bloom's vocals on this are fucking amazing. I mean, you can hear like Alan's, in the keys and everything. You can tell like Alan wrote this shit, but the way that Bloom delivers it, just a great song. What do you think, Heather?
Um, this is probably my least favorite off the album.
Oh, okay.
But as you guys know, I love this album. So that's not necessarily, that's far from a diss.
I hear
Yeah, anytime you have Eric Bloom singing anything, you already got me halfway there. Like and I think in some ways, I mean, I think his voice is great now. I mean, there's, I mean, he doesn't quite have the range nowadays that he does. He certainly did in the 70s and 80s, but I mean, he's like, what is he, almost 80? Like, he's doing fine.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. He still sounds great. But I no, the lyrics are cool. I had no idea about it being about the writer Celine. But I love finding that. And the thing is, like, I love that there's so many different takeaways you can get from their lyrics, because they're, again, you have a little bit of that shadow with BOC, and just I love like this line, I know why, I know where she's hiding. She knows why I lie. Like, it's like, I was like, wow, this is like, it almost sounds like an obsessive love song in a way, where he's like, I know all these things about you and I'm talking to you in my sleep. And it's like, yeah, she's got a restraining order on you, dude. Like, that's how I kind of took it. But I love hearing that history, and I think, God, yeah, Joe Bouchard doesn't get, none of these guys get enough love. Alan Lanier, as much as this might be my least favorite on the album, I love Alan. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I just don't think it's as powerful as the top songs on this album.
Right on. Ralph?
The bass on this track is like masterclass shit. Fucking amazing. I love the amazing drummer, the groove, fuck solo is killing it. I love the flow of this track and all the weird changes to it. I love it. All right, I'll take the next one. Fireworks. One of, if not the greatest Albert Bouchard song. One of the greatest songs ever done. It may be my favorite, and definitely the dark horse on this album. It's got hooks for days, and I love what Buck does on guitar during the chorus. His little playing in the background is fucking just damn.
And the outro is awesome too.
And yeah, it's just it's amazing and so damn original. It hurts. It's like Blue Oyster Cult doing their interpretation of what a pop song should sound like, because it's not a conventional pop song, but it's poppy. It's got these like that vocal structure, it's so hooky and killer. And then how the whole vocal thing comes in during it. Fucking gorgeous. This is a song that didn't have to grow on me. This is a song I got right away. I was like, oh shit, that Fireworks song is awesome. Love it. That's what I feel about Fireworks. Heather, what do you feel?
It's so hard for me to pick. Like, if I had to pick a favorite song off this album, this would be it. This would be it. I love this song. When I did an article about this album years ago, the seed of that was this song. This is the song, it's one of those, like, I hear it and I just have to hear it again, and it just whirls in my mind. I love everything about it. I love the guitar work. I love how that, especially like the opening guitar work, that adds that kind of like sort of like a sinisterness to it, but then you have that poppy sensibility too, like you said. It also, like, the lyrics, and which was written by Albert, and I read online that it's basically, this was about like a shared orgasm with the lover of his. But I feel like some of the lyrics, though, you could take this a totally more in a sinister kind of way, because I mean, literally the opening lyric is like, she went down to her house by the water to hide herself from his grasp. Like, why is this girl hiding from you when you're trying to consummate? You know, like it's like it paints, it paints a different picture.
Because it wasn't rape back then. It was a struggle snuggle.
Esther,
It was a different time.
a struggle. Oh my god.
Oyster Cult wrote the original "I Want Action."
No, no, not I want.
This was before me too. This was like, God damn it, you're gonna do it and you're gonna like it.
No, why do you have to bring up "I Want Action"? Because now all I hear in my voice is Brett Michael going, "Ooh, let me tell you what I want," and I'm like, no, like that's, but
All roads go back to Brett Michaels.
oh god, but yeah, but I love this song. When I first heard this, it actually made me think there's a movie from 1976 called Through the Looking Glass, made by this guy named Jonas Middleton, and it's an adult film, but it's a very eerie film. It's a really fascinating film. It's really fucking dark, and it has that same sort of like dreaminess, and like part of it is like like a sexual obsession, but part of it's also just like there might be actual demons, and this song makes me think of that. I feel like there's a lot of like kind of just little things you could take it just like a nice sexy time, but you could also take it of like something bad has happened here. Something has tainted the ground. But I love that shit. That just makes me love it. Exceptional song.
All right, well, I dig it too. Eerie and poppy at the same time, and that's what they do so well, is mixing those two genres. But as I was digging and trying to find what the song was about, I found the same thing you did, that Al wrote this about a girl he was with who had never had an orgasm before, and that's what I love about them, is they write about science fiction, stuff like the female orgasm that doesn't exist, but it's cool to hear him sing about it. And another funny thing, it like really made me go back and listen to this with different ears. This was Albert Bouchard trying to do a version of More Than a Feeling. And that's what he said he was going for. And I'm like, whoa. And then BOC was recording this at the same time Bruce Springsteen was recording Born to Run. And Albert Bouchard played this for Bruce Springsteen. And Al was saying like, I don't know if it's good. And he said that Bruce Springsteen said, that's an awesome song. I wish I wrote that. It was really catchy. And that's what inspired him to like, okay, I'm going to pursue this. We're going to put it on the album, even though Bruce Springsteen at that time was not the Bruce Springsteen, you know what I mean? But just that he respected him and his opinion, gave him the confidence to go on like, yeah, I'm going to push for this one. I'm going to push for putting it on the album. I fucking love it. All right, where are we going? Oh, next is Are You Ready to Rock? Another grower for me. This one was definitely any day of the week. I can go from like, I love this track to no, it's just too cheesy. Like the title, Are You Ready to Rock? That sounds like some Bret Michaels shit, it's just too like you're smarter than this, Blue Oyster Cult. You're better than this shit. It kind of reminds me, what's that horrible song off of Revolution by Night? Let's Go, or what? B-O-C. You can be whatever you want to be. Get the fuck, boy. That sounds like they're from Long Island when they write shit like that. But Are You Ready to Rock? There's parts that I love, and when it gets. I only live to be born again. Like that's when it's like, oh yes, this is creepy. This is cool. And I was reading, I believe it was Patti Smith and Sandy Pearlman were watching like the same thing on TV. You got to remember back in the 70s, even the 80s, you had 3-4 fucking channels to watch, and that was it. And there was some like Easter thing, and it was talking about Jesus being born again. And they're talking on the phone. They're both watching the same Easter special and writing a song. And Patti Smith would go on to write the song Easter, which she had the album Easter. And Sandy Pearlman was taken in this direction. And then he showed it to Buck, and they kept going back and forth like, Sandy's giving him some lyrics and Buck would write some music and Perlman's like, I don't really care for that, but I like this part. And this song took like about a year to write. They were going back and forth, like Sandy and Buck would go back and forth, like, I like this, I don't like that. But the thing that they always were like, they were always fixated on that I only live to be born again section of the song. And that's the one that ends up, like, even on the days where I'm like, it's fucking cheesy. But when it gets to that, I'm like, okay, you got me. There's something about that line and the way it's sung and, the different vocals that, okay, that's BOC. That, are you ready to rock? Yes, I am. I'm like, that's kind of fucking Bay City Roller shit, But then when it gets that, I only live to be born again, I'm like, okay, now it's BOC. Now you got me. So I do go back and forth on this song. It's much better live. I'll say that it translates much better live. And as of today, I'm totally on the side. Like, yeah, I dig it today. Come back tomorrow. Who fucking knows? Heather, what do you think?
I love it. When they say, "Are you ready to rock?" I am like, "Yes, I am." I love this song, but I do see what you're saying. It's funny. The naming convention of the song actually makes me think of Prince because I think Prince did a lot of that. Yeah, not Bret Michaels, but no, I love this song. And
Bret Michaels couldn't spell RU.
No.
That's a difference.
But I'm with you though. When you get to that chorus of just "I only live to be born again," and just that repetition of it, and that's that epicness. That's that Blue Oyster Cult flavor. And then Eric Bloom. The thing, Eric Bloom can sing anything, and this especially '70s era. The man can give you that hard rock vibe. He can do like a sweet, beautiful like vocal like in Tenderloin off Ages of Fortune. Like the man could do it all. And just hearing him sing this, just love it. Yeah, the live version is amazing. Any of them, because it's BOC. Yeah, and that's cool about the whole thing with Easter. I had no idea. I did not know that. That is super cool. But yeah, no, I fucking love it. I don't know, like Ralph, what do you? Are you ready to rock?
I do love this song, but yeah, the chorus kind of, I don't know. I don't think the chorus should be there. I think everything else about the song is so good.
Mm.
The chorus, it's so cool. Like maybe if they just didn't say "Are you ready to rock" and keep that part instrumental, I would have liked it more. That's my only complaint. Everything else about the song I love. And then we got Celestial the Queen. The song Helen Wheels and Joe do a dominatrix transvestite. That's what the song is. It's an okay song and maybe my least favorite on here. It's not bad because it sounds great, but yeah, I would put it kind of lower tier. Okay, that's it. Ian?
Let's see. Celestial the Queen. In every punch bowl, a turd must fall. And that's how I feel about this song. I am not a fan of this one. Something I didn't mention earlier is there's only one song from this album that's never been played live, and that is Fireworks. But a close second to it is Celestial the Queen, which was only played one time. And I get it. This one just, oh man, it just totally misses the mark for me. And I do love Joe Bouchard. I mean, he sings on one of my probably top 5, if not 3 Blue Oyster Cult songs is Hot Rails to Hell. So I got much love for Mr. Joe Bouchard. And I love his bass playing. But, he's responsible for this shit and Hungry Boys. So he needs to be held accountable. Is this as offensive as Hungry Boys? No. Not much is. Yeah. And not a fan. But Joe's got another song coming up on this album. Can he redeem himself? we're gonna have to wait and see. But Celestial the Queen, yeah, this would definitely be my least favorite. And when Heather didn't mention this as her least favorite, I was kind of surprised. So, Heather, what's your hot take on Celestial? And this is the one song I need to point this out too. As I'm looking up like all these songs, I found notes on loosely like what the song was based on, who was involved in writing it, little shit like nothing on Celestial. Even Joe Bouchard's like, I don't want to talk about it, you know. But what do you think, Heather?
I just love that you made Joe Bouchard sound like Tony Soprano. That was I don't want to talk about it. It's realistically, it's probably my second least favorite. But it has grown on me. Now it's grown on me. I do think it has like a etherealness about it. I really dig. Also reading up on Helen Wheels, somebody needs to make a documentary on her because like she got her name from Handsome Dick Manitoba, which again, the Dictators. I love the Dictators. Yeah,
I love Handsome Dick.
I love him. Eric Bloom, you don't know whom. Right, listen, just know what we're talking about. Listen to Go Girl Crazy. But and she at one point got into bodybuilding and modeled for R. Crumb. Like that's fucking cool. Like I love that. I didn't know
so did I. But
that's amazing. Wow, that's yeah. that yeah, it's like that looks like Ian lifting up our Crumb. That's amazing. Now, the lyrics, I didn't realize it was inspired by a drag queen. That's awesome. Again, it's a little obtuse, but I love that, especially because it kind of sounds like a Celestial. The way it's phrased in the song, is she a muse? Is she an angel? Is she like a demi-goddess? I don't know, but no, it's cool. I do.
Turns out she's a chick with a dick.
Yeah, that's hey, if it works, it works. And but yeah, I think it's cool. I do agree. It's one of the weaker tracks just comparatively, but again, kind of like what I said, like like I love Searching for Celine. There's not a bad song. Like I'm with Ralph on this album, but I think the next song is. I'm wondering what I'm curious. I won't say anything till you guys go. So
no, you got to go first.
I get this one. Oh, cool. So the next song is Going Through the Motions, and written by Eric Bloom and the great Ian Hunter, of course, from Mott the Hoople. And I love this song. This is one where it's like if you're not paying attention, this totally sounds like a cheery, like upbeat poppy song, just like clapping, and then until you realize that this song is one of the most cynical, like kind of almost like ugly songs lyrically. Like it has got some nastiness in it, which I love. I love some contrast. It totally, once you realize the Ian Hunter connection, that tracks, because this sounds, I can see where the song might be divisive. If somebody's not a fan of Ian Hunter or Mott the Hoople, this might not be your flavor, because it does have that flavor along with the BOC flavor. But I mean, I love Ian Hunter. I mean, and he is kind of great at having a song that sounds upbeat and poppy, that lyrically is kind of dark. I mean, Mott the Hoople gave us songs like Violence and Crash Street Kids and Death May Be Your Santa Claus. So all that tracks. I don't know. It's got sunshine and darkness. Eric Bloom's voice on this is one of my favorite vocals performances of his, like ever. I love his voice. He's for me right up there with like Glenn Hughes and like Peter Murphy and Graham Bonnet. Just like vocalists, I could listen to sing almost anything though. Like even if somebody doesn't like this song, listen to it for the Eric Bloom. But
you had me at Peter Murphy.
Oh my god, I love Peter Murphy. Yeah, I do though. But yeah, I don't know, Ralph. What do you think?
This is one of the greatest Eric Bloom vocals. A fun song, and it's kind of like what I said earlier about it's their interpretation of a pop song. It's not your regular pop song, but if you look at the context of Blue Oyster Cult, it's a pop song. They're so damn original. Did you talk about this one, Ian?
No.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of one of those. I ride the fence on this one. Feels more like Elton John than BOC to me. Uh, there's the poppy element. To me, it's like there's a little bit of a desperate attempt by Eric. Like, I'm gonna have a hit, god damn it, And that's a thing, like, for like BOC fans, we hold Eric Bloom in high esteem, and his songs are like some of our favorites. But if you look at the track record, all the actual the hits, the ones that the non-fans know, they're all Buck Dharma songs, Buck Dharma vocals. Um, and it's one of those. I think I even talked to when I interviewed Buck. I asked him if there was any kind of tension, about that. Like you're on the hits, and you would release singles with Eric, but it would always be yours that took off. And was that like a bone of contention? And there was something that's kind of, I don't know, like I love Mott the Hoople. I love Ian Hunter. I rock myself to sleep off the fucking Fright Night soundtrack by Ian Hunter. Yeah. Uh, but no, I like it, but it's for me, it's kind of too far removed musically and too happy. But the thing that does ground it though is the lyrics. And I love that Heather brought that up, is if you do it, if you get over the kind of part of it, and you listen to lyrics like, oh, fuck, that fits in with BOC. Musically, it's kind of too, like, stretching out. But again, I kind of see this whole album, like I said, there's so much different shit, and I think it's everybody stretching out, trying to find their fucking Don't Fear the Reaper, because Don't Fear the Reaper, if you listen to the first three albums, maybe Last Days of May, kind of, but it's like it was so far removed, but they're like, hey, that worked. Let me do my own like weird outside the box song and see, let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I dig it, but it's not my lead. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either, and I totally get why it's divisive, because to me it does sound much more Ian Hunter than BOC. I'll take the next song. Like, I love the night. Oh my God. Do I love this song? And this is one like I turned my wife onto. She loved BOC. Like I said, she's the one like really like, oh, we need to go see Oyster Cult. And I think it was like on a school night, I had to take off work, to go see this shitty casino show. But I was like, oh, I hope they play this, because once I turned around to this song, she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. How is that not a hit? And the funny thing is, the first single off this album was Going Through the Motions. It wasn't Godzilla. It was Going Through the Motions. I think the B-side was Searching for Celine, and didn't do jack shit. And then Godzilla hit. This was released as a single in the UK, but not in America. And I think that's a huge mistake, because this song really could have rode on the back of Don't Fear the Reaper. And it is so goddamn, it's so BOC lyrically, but it's so beautiful. I mean, you could see this right next to Seals and Croft or Bread or America. I mean, it just has that like beauty to it. But of course it has that underlying darkness that is BOC. And I always thought it was kind of funny. In my mind, I always saw it as like you got two vampire songs back to back. But there's also the talk about, the Lady in White. Is it referring to cocaine as well? And I'm like, well, fuck, I love cocaine too. Like vampire, I love cocaine and vampires. Give me a vampire with some coke, I'm fucking there. I got all the time for that. And I love the night. I am that weird guy, like everybody I work with. I'm the guy that loves when the time changes and it gets dark at 5 p.m. I love that shit, because everything good happens in the dark. Nothing good happens in the light. I am that darkness guy. I love nighttime. I love all this shit. And this song just reminds me of how much I embrace the darkness and and not in a negative way, just in a beautiful way. I love walks at night. I love just nighttime with the moon out and everything. And this song, I just feel all those fucking, feelings when I hear it. It's just beautiful. I love the song, and I really think this was a missed opportunity by the band, by the record label. Um, this would have been a perfect, like, even though this didn't come into phase until the 80s, where you do the hard rocker and then you do the ballad. But if Godzilla's your first track, the first single, and then this is your second single, I think you capitalize, because here's where this album only went gold. Agents of Fortune went platinum. This only went gold. And actually, their biggest selling album is the follow-up to the album. I should say follow-up, but the live album, Some Enchanted Evening, actually has the most sales, even over Agents of Fortune. But I think it's just a missed opportunity. This album, even though it went gold, it only peaked at like 49 on the Billboard charts, which, if you calculate those sales by today's, it would be like a number one record, because nobody buys music anymore. But an incredible, incredible fucking song. And I think they played it like at every show on this last tour, except the fucking one we saw. But I've never heard this live. But if I'd totally be creaming in my jeans and fucking crying. Like, yeah! I love the night. I love this fucking song. Heather, what do you think?
Oh my God. This song is beyond gorgeous. It is so dreamy. It is it's exquisite. This is an exquisite song. And yeah, I haven't gotten to hear this one live either. I'm so jealous of anybody who's gotten to, because it is so stellar. And
I just saw the last show they played. They played this as the encore, and I'm like, fuck you!
Oh my God. I never heard of the cocaine thing. That's cool though. I always was like, man, we're getting two vampire songs back to back. I'm sorry, is it Christmas? Because that makes me tremendously happy. And just that Buck, I love Buck's vocal on this. Like, he just, his just the flow of his voice with the music. Just the eerie lyrics, just talking about the woman in white, and just the line, "No mortal was meant to see such wonder." Like, oh, it just gives you chills. It's so beautiful. And you're right. I too am somebody, I prefer. This is where I'm gonna say like some goth, like, which I kind of am, like the darkness. But yeah, no, I think like nighttime just has that sort of quietness about it, but that's also kind of excitement too. It's like a study in contrast. And this song also always makes me think of my late friend Scott, who was like my BOC buddy. And we were always talking about Oyster Cult, and he actually was originally from New Orleans, and him and his roommate had to relocate after Katrina to her family lived in a tiny town in Alabama. And, he was working, this job where he had to walk to work at night, but he had and it's just a little small town, like he worked at a gas station, but he had this album on cassette, and he'd listen to it. Nice. And he just talked about just hearing this song in particular at night, just walking home, and just how it was like such a great way to de-stress after just working your kind of shitty standard job. I always think of him because we're always like, we love this band, and just this song is so beautiful and eerie, and just anything, But yeah, Ralph, are you a lover of the night?
This is my favorite song on the album. It's just amazing. What Ian was saying earlier, he loves the night. I don't give a fuck about time change. I will say, if you play I Love the Night in the daytime, it's not as cool. You got to hear the song at night. It's probably the only song that you have to listen to it during a time zone. It's perfect, and Buck's voice transcends, man, on this song, and his guitar work, the little quiet little intro, and oh my God, the Oyster Cult. The last song, Nosferatu. Man, the vocal harmonies on this song, and that bluesy Buck solo flat out rules. And those riffs that happen in the middle section, that's just like probably the greatest Bliss cult riffs ever that are buried like in the middle of the song. This is an awesome song. And when I was talking to Will Carroll about Bliss cult, we did a Bliss cult episode. I did a video for Tattooed Vampire where I only used footage of the old Nosferatu movie, the silent movie. And he goes, dude, why did you do that? Why didn't you do it on Nosferatu? And I was like, man, that's an awesome question. Why didn't I? You know? I'm sure it would have looked even cooler because it has a vibe of that old. I mean, you know, it's a silent movie. You can put that movie on with this song playing. And then play I Am the Night and do a little blow watching the movie. You know?
Woo, woo.
I love it. I love this song. It's the ending. Heather, tell us what you feel about that song. I'm going to be right in this room. I can hear everything, and we'll talk if I need to.
All right. Now, Nosferatu is fucking awesome. It is awesome. What a killer way to end a killer album. And I actually reading up on this. I saw somebody online refer to this as proto goth, which I thought was really cool. And I'm like, that's interesting because BFC do deal with a lot of themes where I'm like, I'm kind of surprised more people don't kind of. I mean, they're a hard rock band. They're not really goth, but there's bleed over with a lot of genres and bands. So it's like, yeah, why don't more people point that out? But no, I love this. And honestly, I can't think of an earlier song that's a serious song about a major vampire figure. Because like any song before this that is invoking, especially like anything based on Dracula, which that's the thing. For anybody listening that's not familiar, Nosferatu was basically like the Murnau film is Dracula, but they changed the names to skirt around copyright laws, which was unsuccessful. And the main reason we even have that film is thanks to bootlegging, basically. But thank God, because the original Nosferatu is amazing. But anything that mentioned Dracula before this was more like, say, like got like Dinner with Dracula, which I do love because John Zachary rules. But but it's more like, it was kind of more like, kind of campy novelty stuff. Where I think this is the first song I could think of that is like and kind of I Love the Night too, that's like a serious vampire song. Like you could put this music, either one, but especially Nosferatu, as a soundtrack for a vampire movie in particular, and it just works. It just flows. Also, one thing I should have mentioned when we were talking about I Love the Night, I love the way that song fades out. By the way that fade at the end of it is just perfect. And it's almost like you're feeling like the singer, like the character that Buck is in this is like he's fading from life as he's like being drained of his life essence. Like, it's beautiful. But yeah, no, I love Nosferatu. But Ian, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's fucking amazing. And the way that, I Love the Night goes into this. And again, you just have that theme of, darkness, but beauty. There's grotesque and beauty all at once. And it reminds me of this amazing night me and my wife had in New Orleans when we first started. I talked about it before. We were divorced for 25 years and then got back together. And she used to come visit me before we officially got back. She would drive from Illinois to New Orleans. And there was this night there was this legendary club in New Orleans that was like a half a block from my house. And we went and saw the Psychedelic Furs.
Oh, nice.
And then we walked out of there and it was like it's like you were in London. Ooh. It was a foggy night and all you had was the street lights. And we were walking home in the fog and the street lights, and we're drunk, leaving Psychedelic Furs or in this awesome fucking, mood and stuff. And I just remember that night and that dark New Orleans feel that I love and miss, I hear that in songs like this. And when I hear this, what I love is like if you're familiar with the novel, and stuff like this, like I picture, that boat coming across, and it's
Oh,
even
yes.
it's not so much like the other ship, but the Demeter, coming over, and Dracula, and talking about passengers on the ship missing and and stuff like that, and just the ambience of this song is like, oh, ambiance. I pronounce that right. But anyway, this is everything that's BOC to me. This is that dark feeling, that grotesque and beauty mixed together with great harmonies and great music. And what a way to end the album. Um, I love that. This is stereotypical. It's the rule of 10. There's only 10 songs on this album, It ends with a song that leaves you baiting for more, that makes you want to just flip it over and start it again. Like, I want to go on this creepy voyage. And this whole album, there's so much like darkness and weird, even when the music is up tempo. Lyrically, it's still down in the gutter, it's um amazing, and still, I mean, I much prefer the black and white era of BOC, but I will take this over Agents of Fortune as a whole, even though maybe there's not as strong as like Don't Fear the Reaper or Tenderloin Morning Finale, stuff like that. But there's something about the rhythm of this album that I think, resonates with so many people, and that's so many people on the Facebook page. This is my favorite BOC. While I might not agree, I get it. I get it because, and this is in 1977, the year of Star Wars, and shit like that, And then you have this darkness and everything. It's just phenomenal. Anytime I can talk about this band, I don't even care what I mean. Somehow I would manage to have fun talking about Club Ninja. I don't know how, but I would find a way,
Same.
But when you're talking about shit like this, it's like, and that's why, I know it's a highly controversial album, and fans either love it or hate it, but I'm a big Imaginos fan, because, of the creepiness. And I love what Albert Bichard's done, with his three, he did a 3 album, like his take on it and even expanded on it. I want that darkness in my BOC. And man, this is just incredible. Another thing we haven't talked about is this is when the lasers came into effect for BOC. They made a little bit of money with Agents of Fortune. And now when they're out there, you see in the picture, I don't know, everything's all fucked up because of different shit. But anyway, right there, there, whatever, I give up. The lasers, man, it's like the Stoned Age, the gnarly eyeball. What a golden era for this band. Phenomenal. A phenomenal band that someday I hope gets the respect they deserve, and the listeners they deserve. And I think it's really a matter of people just need to dig a little bit deeper. But we could say that with 1,000 bands, you could say it with Cheap Trick and Thin Lizzy and stuff like that, where people only know a couple of songs but don't realize the genius of these bands. But we've turned a lot of people onto this. I hope this episode turns a lot of people, more people onto it. This is one I'm definitely going to share in BOC Facebook groups. And, if they just fast forward, through the first 2 hours and they get to where we talk about this and not Bret Michaels, they'll enjoy it. But I love this band. I love, talking with you two and Heather. This was so worth it. It was worth the wait. I'm so glad you were able to join us, and thank you so much.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. No, you guys, I adore both of you so much, and I love this band. I love this album, and I love pointing out that's what you guys do with the show, though. That's what it is. Is I think like you're helping plant those seeds where people like I've known times where people are like, "Oh, I'm bored." Like, how can you get bored? There's so much to do in life. There's so much to listen to and read and look at, and even like with bands where you're like, "Oh, you think you don't like a certain band because you heard one song too much on the radio." pick up the album, or or listen to it, stream it, and if you like it, go out and buy it. Like, it's don't just judge a band by the hits. Of course, with BOC, the hits are fucking great. Like they are like a because some bands like their biggest, like their hits are like the weakest songs. I think in some cases, BOC, it's just a taste, but they're so eclectic. They've got something, a flavor for all the cool moods, and yeah, and I mean they're still kicking ass. The Symbol Remains is an awesome album. Like if anybody listens
Very,
like that,
very strong.
please check that one out because it's amazing. But no, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
On.
Awesome.
I'm about to do something that I did on Almost Human Live, but the noise didn't get picked up. So let's see if the noise gets picked up on this.
Oh, you got a fart?
Check this out.
Is this CGI? Oh, it's your Art the Clown. Oh.
Tell me if you can hear the horn. It works on sensor. I gotta stand in front of it for it to, because it's got a sensor right there. There it is. Can you hear it?
Nope.
It looks cool though.
But I believe you.
It's beeping like crazy. Stupid. It can pick up my fart, but it can't pick up. But anyway, hey Heather. Uh-oh, there it goes again. You don't hear it, huh? Anyway,
No.
Heather,
Ralph. Distracted by a cloud.
do you have like something you'd like to recommend, like a pick, something you'd like to pick for the
Pick of the week?
I do. I actually have, I hope this isn't cheating. I have two, but I'll make them quick. A YouTube pick of the week. This is something we recently discovered by chance. Is anybody familiar out there with Ruby Star and Grey Ghost? Ruby Star is probably best known for being the girl on the song Jim Dandy by Black Oak, Arkansas. Spoiler, no offense to anybody, I'm not a big Black Oak, Arkansas fan. Maybe it's because I've had to grow up being hit on by guys that sounded and looked like Jim Dandy, where it's like, darling, and it's like, no, but Ruby Star, holy shit. There's on YouTube, when they opened at the Winterland gig in 75, it's her and a band that she was with at the time called Grey Ghost. Fucking blew my mind. So good. She could be singing like Deep Purple. Like that woman had some voice. She has the vigor, the presence, the band with her is great. If you like 70s just hard rock, fucking check it out. It's so good. And my second which will be like my album pick is I've been listening to a ton of Lords of the New Church recently.
Nice.
Yes, love the Lords, and they were referred to often kind of as a super group of sorts because you had Stiv Bators from the Dead Boys, Dave Traguna from Sham 69, Nikki, I can't remember Nikki Turner from the Barracudas, and the great late, we just lost him, Brian James from the Damned. But the Lord's so good. It's like, sort of like you've got goth rock, punk infused, and you know what? It's all rock and roll. It's phenomenal. Love the Lords of the New Church. If you're not familiar, maybe start off with Killer Lords, which is a comp, but I think it's a really great sampler of their stuff. I love
the first album, and a lot of people might know that they opened up for Black Sabbath on the Eternal Idol tour.
Fuck! Oh my god.
Yep.
I would love to get a time machine for that. Holy shit. Yeah. That's too, like, oh my god. Eternal Idol's great. Like, fuck, that's awesome. I know a guy who got to see them open or play a bill with Alien Sex Fiend, which is
Alien Sex Fiend.
I know, isn't that great? Yeah, he said it was like, he's like, yeah, it was great, and I'm just like jealous. But yeah, love the Lords. Rest in power, Brian James and Stiv Bators, because Stiv Bators is amazing.
Fuck yeah. Love the Dead Boys.
Yeah, what are your guys' picks? I don't want to throw to like one specific because I can't choose. Don't
Uh,
make me do a Sophie's choice here.
all
God
right,
damn it.
all right. I'll do it. I'll do it. We'll let the king go last. Um, my pick of the week. I'm gonna stick with BOC, and I'm gonna pick a divisive album, but some one I really enjoy, and that's 1979's Mirrors.
Oh, I love mirrors.
Love it.
Yeah, they kind of, they shot for the stars on this one, and it didn't quite land. With audio, it didn't do the numbers that they wanted it to do. They
Mhm.
did real good with Some Enchanted Evening, the live album from this tour, and then Mirrors. They're like, let's go even more like like the cars are happening now and shit like that. So it's definitely their California album. Tom Werman produced it. It's very bright for a BOC album, but at the same time, it has a lot of the classic tropes lyrically and song change wise. Even though I cannot stand the so-called hit off the album in the off
Mhm.
I rest in peace, Alan, but I hate that fucking song. Even though I know Ralph loves it. But I think there's a lot to be found on Mirrors that I love. I mean, stuff like Lonely Teardrops, I think is fucking
Oh, hell
amazing.
yeah.
And I'm Not the One You Were Looking For, which is like such a blatant fucking Cars ripoff by Albert Bouchard, but I love it. Um, and is it the Vigil or the Virgil or I don't know how the fuck to pronounce it, but that song's fucking amazing. That's the one they still play live today. Um, I love that song. And I even love Doctor Music, which is funny, is Doctor Music is just as corny and cheesy as Are You Ready to Rock, but for some reason I love it. But I think it's a good one to check out. They would course correct hard after that album, get with Martin Birch and do two back-to-back albums with Cultosaurus and Fire of Unknown Origin. Uh, but Mirrors, man, go check it out, man. There's some good shit on there. Pick of
Yeah.
the week.
Look, I got the CGI Mirrors album put up here.
Yeah,
We're high
CGI.
tech. All right.
That looks like Jabba in the New Hope re-release.
It's just
Very,
Joe, not the one with the CGI.
I know. I just got this stupid green screen shit.
All right. Well, now it's time for me to do my pick of the week. And as you know, lately, my pick of the week, I just randomly pick an album.
Heather, tell them where to go.
Oh,
Right.
lower left.
Lower left, here, over here. Because I don't know, the camera may be back.
Oh, the other left. The other lower. Yes, yes. Pick
Yeah.
something from there. Yes.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Oh my God. Hey, this is my very first Kiss album. And I love this album. My friend played me I Want You because he had Rock and Roll Over. So I went to the store to look for a Rock and Roll Over. They didn't have it, but they had this that had I Want You. And man, I love pretty much all the remixes on here more than the original. The only thing I hate, and I still hate, is that
Rock Bottom.
bottom intro to She. That shit's terrible. But I love it.
But what a lot of people don't know is the guy who wrote all the songs on there was a young 6-year-old Steve Brown who would go on to form Trickster. So there you go.
I have this in my album.
I've got that. I'm such a fucking nerd. I've got that shit too.
Well, it came in the album. What do you want?
Yeah.
Here's my pick of the week. Oh my God, Kiss! Oh, this is actually signed by Gene and Paul. I don't know if you can make that out.
Oh, nice. You know what was cool? It's like when you had the gatefold open, the light was reflecting directly onto the mirrors cover. So that was kind of more CGI. Yeah, it's like like you're getting a tan.
Very expensive CGI going on right there.
Yeah, all those Marvel movies can eat a dick because this is the best CGI right here.
This right here is shit, man.
Also, I have to say I fucking love In Thee. I love In Thee.
It's amazing.
It's
It's
so good.
beautiful, beautiful song. This sounds really good. Um,
It's so underrated.
yeah, I love the Great Sun Jester.
Yes, yes.
I Am the Storm. I like the Vigil is probably my favorite on here. Great stuff, man. Lonely Teardrop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The title track, which oh my god, there's a clip on YouTube of them doing Mirrors Live, like the song Mirrors Live, and I actually prefer that even over, and I love the version on the studio, but hearing the band harmonize together, like that's the thing, BOC could harmonize the way all the like the way they harmonize, it just oh, it just takes me away. I love it so much.
Okay, well, now we got to go into fan of the week. And of course, the fan of the week is here now. Uh,
Oh,
we are so honored to have you. I'm so excited. I told Heather at one point, I realized on Facebook that we weren't friends anymore. Like I saw a post and it said we weren't friends. And I was like, oh, fuck, what episode? How did I offend her? And then she told me she'd like redone her Facebook thing. I was so
yeah.
scared. I'm like, what did I say? I am such a fan of yours and the work that you do, and so proud. I'm actually really proud that you enjoy our show because most of our listeners, can't spell GED, let alone attain one. And
And right there, what he said, everybody's gonna hate me because
Yeah.
yeah, all of our listeners who have GEDs, fuck him. That was hard.
Like
You know?
poor Ralph's over here, like, why do I keep getting all the cease and desist?
I had a hard time in school, Ralph.
Oh my god, no, this is listen, the honor is all mine. Now you guys are amazing, and have really like there are times where like if I'm having a really shitty day, I can listen to I can listen to the podcast. I can go on YouTube and watch one of Ralph's like videos. I mean, you guys have even changed some of my brain language. Like I don't know, Ralph, if you remember this, but one of your like older reviews when you were doing all the Black Sabbath album reviews on your channel, and you had this story about I think it's Behind the Walls Sleep, where you said as a kid you thought they were saying the name George Royal.
No, it was, and may he rest in peace. He lived right down the street.
Oh, whoa.
He was a childhood friend of mine, and I was at his house, and he played me Behind the Wall of Sleep. I never heard it before. And he's like, check it out. See my name, George Royal. And man, it does sound like George Royal.
100%. No, because I can't listen to this song without hearing like George Royal, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, it's so you guys are amazing, and it's such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and if thank you guys for doing what you do. Like like you've turned so many people onto some great music, and you've kept it real about music. The thing I love is like you guys are, there are things you don't like, and you're real about that. It's just opinions. Like it's you know
You know,
it's all good.
go back to the early podcast shows. You hear me bashing a lot of bands I love now. Like I'm a big fan of Winger now. I still don't like that second album, but everything else, Winger, that last album, I love Winger so much that Winger just came out saying, that's it, no more Winger. I was like, aw.
I love that. But see, I think that's being a true fan, and that's why I trust people. Like one of my favorite music writers, like Lester Bangs. Lester was notorious for doing that, where he would initially trash bands, like the MC5, and then go back and and he's like, you know what, I was fucking wrong. I love that, and he did that with multiple bands, and I'm like, so many people want to say Face with shit, and it's because it's ego. They get tied in their ego, and would it be like, I'm, nobody's the Professor Poobah of anything when it comes to anything creative. Like, it's art. You can't put it in a box. You shouldn't put it in a box. Just enjoy it, or don't enjoy it. It's all good in the end. So no, I love that. I think that's being human. I think we all have bands that initially kind of hit us a way where you're like, and then later on you're like, you know what, I love that. Or maybe sometimes vice versa,
I used to talk a lot of shit about meth until I found out teeth are the enemy.
Was that at Chili's? Was that
Yeah.
Applebee's got the blow?
But no, thank you so much. And I want to stress to everybody, check out Mondo Heather. You have a YouTube page right now. I love the videos that I saw you put up. And look out, some of your favorite cult films. Man, check them out and see all these amazing titles that Heather's a part of, and these really great releases. And you got me to drop some coin on the Hitcher, because that second Sight release, woo, I spent some money on that, and I was so pissed. They released the American version for fucking $4. I'm like, fuck it. And it was the same fucking transfer, but I'm like, but it doesn't have Heather's articles. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Thank God. Thank God. It would be embarrassing if you were like, thanks a lot, Trade.
Yeah. No, I gotta admit, I was mad when it was the same transfer. I'm like, yeah, well, this shit ain't gonna have Dolby Vision, and it did. But you know what? It didn't have Heather Drain, and all these amazing releases that you are part of, and I love it. My wife knows who you are, and
Aww.
I've played special features that you're part of, and she even told me, she goes, you can't get too drunk tonight. You have a lady on your show. I was like, I know.
Oh my God, that's so sweet. That's a lady.
But I did anyway.
So, I should have worn a ball gown or something instead of a Maniac t-shirt. Represent Joe Spinell. But
I talked up Maniac to her, like we probably shouldn't have bought another movie that week. I'm like, but honey, we need Maniac on 4K. And she's like, oh, that movie sucks. I love it.
I love Maniac. It's that's what I think people either really like or they're very
but the
not
moral
into
of the story is I still got Maniac on 4K, but she just made me order the what is it? Is it Umbrella? Or no, it's Second Sight. She just had me order the deluxe edition of The Brood from Second Sight. Yeah,
nice.
She loves the Brood.
That's a keeper. Between that and the BOC, she is a keeper, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, and we watch Jalo all the time together and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah. But are there any that you can talk about, any new releases that you're part of or anything that you can share, or is that stuff you got to keep that all hush hush?
Well, I do have some exciting things coming up. Some releases that are currently out. I actually have an essay on May Lucine and Vinegar Syndrome have worked together. They have a beautiful re-release of Last Tango in Paris, the Marlon Brando film. So, and I still can't believe I'm a part of that.
You're on that one? Oh,
I have an essay, and I get to be next to Allison Anders, who's an independent filmmaker I've admired.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the deal? What happens in that movie that it was rated X?
To be honest, I think especially that time period, because it is, there's enough nudity in it and sexual situations. I honestly don't think it took too much back then to be Midnight Cowboy was originally rated X.
Thank you.
Clockwork Orange was originally rated X. I think Clockwork Orange is honestly, I think you could argue it probably a little more edgy. Last Tango is brilliant though. And it does deal with some disturbing themes along with sort of a frank about sexuality. I mean, it's not, honestly, by the time you got the 80s, you could see more sexually, I would say explicit, but more, a lot more sex scenes and stuff on Skinamax than
It was probably like the whole butter and the rape part of it.
Yeah, that's an intense scene. But I think back then X was supposed to mean just films that like are clearly just made for adults. Like it doesn't, not adults like, hey, here's a taint. It's
Right.
more just like adult themes, like Midnight Cowboy, like Clockwork Orange, and films like that, like Last Tango. But the MPAA is kind of full of shit anyway. So.
I got to ask you because I just saw, like I went, because Vinegar Syndrome had the halfway to Black Friday thing this week, and I was looking like I'd bought so much shit I didn't have the money to get Last Tango at first, and I saw like the hard box version or whatever sold out. Is whatever you're a part of, is that on the regular edition? Are you on the video version or do you have a written?
It's a written. It's part of the booklet, so I don't know if that's going to be a part of the.
Okay. I got to go on eBay. God damn it!
I'm sorry.
Don't
feel like you have to. Like I don't want to.
I'm a Heather Drain fan girl.
Oh, you're very sweet. I just feel bad after Ralph called you a hobo. I don't know if you should.
No, he said homo.
I know.
He said homo.
I know.
I just bought a brand new house, so I am what the liberals call housed. But I do fancy the dick, so I'm a homo.
You fancy.
Yeah.
I love that fancy. But
he fancies hobo dick. That's why he's the hobo.
Do you guys remember that song by Whale, Hobo Hump and Slowbo Babe?
I love that song.
I love that song too. That made me think. I thought Ralph was about to call you that. You're a hobo hump and slowbo babe.
Give it up to me. I bought that fucking CD, and that's the only good song.
Oh, that's too bad. I love that song too, but I haven't listened to anything else by Whale. So,
but it's the only good. It's like, come on, if you bought Chumbawamba, there's only Tub Thumping, on that album,
Well, all right, everybody. This was a very exciting episode of the Rock and Metal Comeback Podcast. I want to thank Mondo, Heather. That the truth be told, I'm more excited you're here than Ian. Hey, man, it's been a gas. Forever.
Yes.
And if you like this, come back next week where we talk even more about Bret Michaels. Next week on the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
Look it up.